Ready to tackle that building project? Start right. Start here at H&L Rapid True Value for building supplies. The time by H&L Rapid True Value is
Nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
Learn about smart betting strategies with AnyBet. Bet wisely, enjoy responsibly, and maximize your success. The temperature by AnyBet is
31 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 29 out west in Montego Bay.
News at 5 teasers are brought to you by Advanced Scales and Equipment. Service is our total commitment.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robian Williams.
In Nationwide News at this hour, aging expert Professor Denise Eldermeyer Shearer horrified by the discovery of the mummified remains of an elderly woman.
Horror and disgust. Horror that something like this could happen. Wondering how it took a year for family and friends to wonder where the old lady was.
She's urging relatives to be more vigilant in the care and protection of the elderly.
Taxi operators are supporting the rural school bus program despite concerns about the impact on their earnings.
Police urging political candidates to maintain peace and respect during the election campaign.
The Foreign Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith says the EU Parliament's decision to remove Jamaica from high-risk listing is a sign of trust in the financial system.
In news from the rest of the world, 100 fewer murders committed in TNT this year compared to 2024.
South Korea's former president rearrested.
In headline sports, a 100-meter star gets another shot at making Jamaica's team to the World Athletics Championship in Japan in September.
And later in our broadcast, in the cover story at 5:35, in what the police are describing as a bizarre case, a caregiver is facing several charges after she concealed the dead body of an elderly woman in a mummified state for nearly 2 years. We'll hear from the proprietor of Lynn's Funeral Home, Calvin Lynn, Executive Chair of the CCRP, Jean Laurie Chin, and social worker Dr. Peter Ann Baker.
In Public Opinion at 6:26, we ask, what's your reaction to the discovery of the mummified remains of a woman who died nearly 2 years ago? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90FM.
In the nation's business at 6:40, Bermuda's Home Affairs Minister Alexa Lightburn is on the island for the recently concluded CARICOM Heads of Government meeting. Minister Lightburn will join us to discuss how Bermuda is keeping businesses and residents safe while promoting growth. All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile, Nationwide 90FM, Nationwide Radio, JM.com, and on the Nationwide app. Available on the Google Play and the App Store. This Wednesday afternoon, it's Wednesday, July 9, 2025.
News at 5 teasers were brought to you by Advanced Scales and Equipment. Service is our total commitment.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
And now to the details. Aging expert Professor Denise Eldermeyer Shearer says she's been left horrified by the discovery of the mummified remains of an elderly woman who died nearly 2 years ago.
Total horror and disgust. Horror that something like this could happen. Wondering how it took a year for family and friends to wonder where the old lady was. And disgust that a caregiver would do that to somebody. It makes you wonder who was paying the caregiver in the meantime. Was money coming from overseas?
The body of Viola Destin was discovered on July 6 at her home in Old Hope District in Westmoreland. She had been dead since December of 2023. Images seen by Nationwide News show Miss Destin's mummified remains clad in a house dress lying on its back on a mattress. Miss Destin's caregiver, 54-year-old Gina Robinson, was arrested and hit with several charges following the discovery. Professor Eldermeyer Shearer says the incident highlights the importance of the report by the Select Committee of the Senate on Aging.
It's significant that it comes now when we've just finished discussing for the Care and Protection report that was tabled last week, the whole issue of caregivers, management of caregivers, regulation of caregivers, and it just highlights the importance of last week's report.
Professor Denise Eldemire-Shero. She was speaking with Nationwide News on Wednesday.
Meanwhile, Professor Eldemire-Shero is urging Jamaicans who employ caregivers to pay greater attention to their elderly relatives.
I think it's an extreme part of the spectrum because the reports have been emerging recently. CCRP has been raising them, others have been raising them, of the poor treatment of older persons by caregivers. And I am hesitant in what I'm saying because there are so many good caregivers. And I think we have to be careful not to brand all caregivers with this incident. But certainly for relatives, especially those who are abroad and sending money, to make sure that you also have somebody checking on the person and checking to see that the caregiver is caring for the person.
Professor Denise Eldemire-Shero, medical doctor and aging expert.
Taxi operators are supporting the government's plan for a rural school bus program despite concerns about the impact on their potential to earn. The operators are the latest group to weigh in on the ongoing national debate. Shalois Michael reports.
Amid continued debate between the government and the opposition about the planned school bus program, taxi operators are having their say. Despite general support, there are concerns. President of the Eastern St. Thomas Taxi Association, Kirk Brown, says PPV operators recognize the benefits of the program.
The new school bus program with the school bus that the government has rolled out, it is good for the students and the student parents because, yes, they will save more money because the fare that really will be a help for the parents. That's why you find the transport, we are kind of quiet. You don't hear much about it. We are kind of quiet because we know that it is a good thing for the children.
But Mr. Brown says while he welcomes the initiative, he's concerned it might be bad for business.
On the other side, we in the public transport sector, it is bad for us because we lose those passengers. Over all the years, we are the one been moving all these students, select of big people, and we still move for them Pitney, for them Grand Pitney. You see, so come September, it's a different game change. So yes, it will affect us because the bread done thin already now, so it does get thinner.
President of the St. James Taxi Association, Dion Chance, is also welcoming the program. He's encouraging students to take the buses come September.
My initial reaction is that it is something good because any responsible government will want to ensure that based on our transportation system that we have, something needs to be put in place. So for the government to introduce a school bus system, it's all good and fine. And I certainly hope that it works out because if there's a school bus system in place, the students should take the school bus.
But President of the St. Anne Central Taxi Association, Joyce Murphy, does not share that view. She believes the rollout is unnecessary.
Our taxi minister they carry a lot of children. So I'm totally against it. St. Anne is a small town, and those buses are not ready yet to run in St. Anne's Day. And in doing so, they are blighting the two taximen that we have carrying our children to school. We have no problem with the taximen them down here. I'm not with it, no time at all.
The opposition PNP has maintained that the imported buses are unsuited for Jamaica's terrain and conditions. Shalois Michael for Nationwide News.
And Member of Parliament for Southwest St. Elizabeth Floyd Green says he's looking ahead to September when the government will roll out Phase 2 of its rural school bus program. Green says he's taken aback by the attack the program has come under from the opposition PNP. Mahiri Stewart reports.
Opposition leader Mark Golding and the PNP's leader in the Senate, Peter Bunting, have taken flack for their blistering criticism of the government's plan to transport students in rural Jamaica.
I see your MP coming with his whole bus plan. It's going to be pure problem, I tell you that. Our solution is to empower the taxi drivers and the bus drivers of Jamaica. with a subsidy that we will pay them so they can carry the picnic them. And the transport sector, the private operators, the little man, them who have them Pro Box and them have them AR wagon, and they will be the beneficiaries of the money that is going to run.
We don't want to kill off poor people picnic with some old bus. And I make no apology for that. I wouldn't put my child on that old bus.
Floyd Green is chairman of the JLP's Area Council 4. He says the rural school bus program will be welcomed by students and parents in his constituency.
As a rural MP, we have long lobbied for a rural school bus system to come into operation. To be honest, one of the biggest challenges that our children face in relation to the access of education in rural Jamaica is transportation. So I'm truly surprised and astonished that the rural school bus system that's been introduced by the government is being so heavily politicized to the level that the actual buses are being criticized.
The opposition dismissed the buses to be used under the program as decommissioned units from the U.S. school system that are unsuited to the Jamaican terrain. But Minister Green disagrees. He says the vehicles are similar to those buses that carried him and hundreds of others to and from school during his time at Monroe College.
We saw firsthand how good the buses were. I mean, if you know the terrain to get up to Monroe and places like Chelsea Hill and Horseshoe Corner and from Santa Cruz to Malvern and from Kincaid to Monroe, those buses showed that they were fit for purpose and were extremely hardy machines. I mean, they took a number of hits and the students came out with no injuries. So I'm shocked, and it is clear that the opposition is just adamant to tear down any project, regardless of the fact that it will help our people, and are just in a baseless drive for power.
Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
The commanding officer for the Area 4 Police, ACP Michael Phipps, is calling on political candidates to maintain peace and respect during the election campaign season. His call follows several reports of political campaign posters being defaced or removed by opposing factions.
The police across the Area 4 space is at this time appealing to all the political representatives, whether a sitting member of parliament or a prospective candidate. We are appealing to them to conduct all their political activities in an atmosphere that engenders peace and goodwill. We have been getting complaints from some representatives regarding removal of and the destruction of posters, etc. We propose to do very early intervention in order to prevent potential conflicts within the constituencies across Area 4.
General elections are constitutionally due by December this year, but it's widely expected the Prime Minister will call Jamaicans to the polls by September. ACP Phipps says the removal and vandalism of campaign material could lead to conflict. He says he's directed his divisional commanders to be on the alert for persons who remove political signs. A meeting has also been held with both the JLP and PNP representatives in Central Kingston.
We have had good responses and so far have had one meeting with Member of Parliament Mr. Donovan Williams of the JLP and Mr. Steve McGregor of the PNP, both reps for Central Kingston constituency. This meeting, I believe, was very cordial and I think went very well, where both gentlemen pledged to ensure that both camps will conduct their political activities in an atmosphere of peace and goodwill, and at the same time implore their supporters to do everything to maintain a peaceful election campaign.
ACP Michael Phipps, commanding officer for the Area 4 Police.
The Office of the Political Ombudsman is also calling on political leaders to set a tone of unity, tolerance and restraint as the country inches closer to the general election. In a statement on Wednesday, Chairman of the ECJ, Earl Jarrett, denounced the removal and the defacing of political flyers. He says the actions undermine democracy and peaceful political engagement. The ECJ now exercises the powers of the political ombudsman. The political ombudsman is reminding political parties and their supporters that each Jamaican has the right to participate in the political process without fear or intimidation. It says it will continue to monitor campaign activity. There have been several reports of vandalism of campaign material over the last few weeks. Inflammatory references to war and the use of expletives from political platforms have also received widespread condemnation. The political ombudsman is reminding members of the public they can submit any complaints or reports of breaches to the office's email address ecjombudsman@eoj.com.jm.
You're listening to the news on Nationwide at 5. We'll have more after these.
It's IQ Optical's sizzling summer sale. For this month only, get 50% off lenses when you purchase a frame. Kids get free lenses with a purchase of a frame. Make the intelligent choice with IQ Optical. Conditions apply. The time by IQ Optical is...
It's 15 minutes after 5.
Rentokil Initial offers air purification solutions with triple filtration and unique auto-sensing capabilities that neutralizes malodor and replaces it with clean air. Call Rentokil Initial at 926-4236 for more details.
The temperature by Rentokil is
31 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 29 out west in Montego Bay.
Continuing the news, the government has welcomed the European Parliament's decision to remove Jamaica from the European Union's list of high-risk countries as it relates to anti-money laundering and countering the financing of terrorism. Foreign Affairs Minister Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith says this is an affirmation of the fiscal reforms carried out by the Holness administration.
The decision by the European Parliament follows both joint and separate sustained advocacy efforts by Jamaica and Barbados at all levels. Even as recently as yesterday, our call for delisting was again repeated by Prime Minister Holness in his closing session as chair of the 49th meeting of CARICOM Heads of Government. We are so very pleased that in the end, a position was taken that recognizes the reforms that we have made to our financial systems and regulatory frameworks, a position aligned with last year's positive FATF decision. This is a signal of broad-based trust in Jamaica's systems.
The move follows Jamaica's removal from the Financial Action Task Force FATF grey list in 2024. The EU's fifth anti-money laundering directive says gatekeepers, such as banks, are obliged to consider business relationships and transactions involving high-risk third countries through increased checks and control measures. Jamaica had been on that list since October 2020. The decision to remove the island marks a key milestone as the country seeks to position itself as a stable and reliable partner in the global financial system. Minister Johnson-Smith noted that the delisting strengthens Jamaica's position to achieve its national development goals.
We cannot overstate the significance of this decision, which is a clear indication of the Parliament's willingness to respond positively to the needs and interests of small, vulnerable economies like Jamaica's. We thank the parliamentarians for this decisive action with exponential implications for our economies and accordingly our citizens. Ultimately, this places us in a better position to continue working purposefully towards achieving our national development goals.
Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade.
A 3.6 magnitude earthquake struck sections of the country earlier today. The minor earthquake occurred sometime after 4 p.m. According to the earthquake unit at the University of the West Indies Mona campus, the epicenter was located southwest of Buff Bay, Portland. It was felt in several parishes. These include sections of Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Mary, and St. Catherine.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
The World in a Minute.
In regional news, murders are down by 33% in Trinidad and Tobago. According to the Trinidad Express, there were 203 murders up to July 8. That's 100 fewer murders than the 303 recorded for the corresponding period last year. The latest victim is a 67-year-old mechanic whose body was discovered in his yard yesterday. The police are searching for a man captured on CCTV footage in connection with the murder. According to the police, a CCTV alert from the victim's property was sent to his mobile phone, showing an unidentified man walking around his property. Hours later, his body was discovered by a relative who had been asked to check on him. Police report that the man had a wound to his head.
U.S. President Donald Trump plans to impose a 50% tax on goods made in Brazil, escalating his fight with the South American country. He announced the plan in his latest tariff letter shared on social media on Wednesday. In it, he accused Brazil of a tax on U.S. tech companies and conducting a witch hunt against former far-right President Jair Bolsonaro, who is facing prosecution over his role trying to overturn the 2022 election. This trial should not be taking place, Trump wrote in the letter posted on Truth Social. It is a witch hunt that should end immediately. Trump had already sparred with Brazilian President Luiz Lula da Silva over Bolsonaro's trial earlier this week. At the time, President Lula said Brazil would not accept interference from anyone and added no one is above the law.
South Korea's former president has been rearrested over last year's failed martial law order that plunged the country into political turmoil. Yoon Suk-yeol was impeached in April over the order, which saw military rule introduced for 6 hours in December. A senior judge at Seoul's Central District Court issued an arrest warrant for Yoon on Wednesday, citing fears he could destroy evidence. Yoon was the first sitting South Korean president to be arrested.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, 3.6 magnitude quake felt across several parishes today.
Aging expert Professor Denise Eldemeyer Scherer horrified by the discovery of the mummified remains of an elderly woman.
And in a correction, the elderly woman's caregiver has not yet been charged.
Taxi operators are supporting the rural school bus program despite concerns about the impact on their earnings.
I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
Listeners, you can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app. It's available on the Google Play and the App Store. News next. The headlines at 6.
Tired of waiting for your ride? Want safety and peace of mind on every journey? Amber On Time is here! With verified drivers, real-time vehicle tracking, and panic button with armed security response, your safety is our priority. Reliable service, easy booking, premium experience, it's all just a tap away. Download Amber On Time today.
50 years of dreams. 50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Experience the joy of buying a brand new Hyundai without breaking the bank. Yes, buying a brand new car should never leave you broke. From stylish designs and safety features to comfortable driving and reliability, Hyundai is the choice. Hyundai vehicles come standard with 2 years free service and 5 years warranty and roadside assistance for your peace of mind. Drive 2 years without service cost and 5 years without fear of being stranded. Hyundai. Conditions apply.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker.
Paris Olympic 100 meters finalist Tia Clayton will aim to take advantage of one of a few options still available to her to compete in the women's 100 meters at the World Championships in Tokyo, Japan in September. Clayton, who finished outside the top 3 at the national championships after pulling up midway the final with an injury, has been named in Jamaica's team to the NACAC Area Championships in the Bahamas, August 15 to 17. According to World Athletics Qualification and Entry Standard, athletes who win their area championship could secure a 4th spot to individual events in Tokyo, providing there's no better entry by world rankings of another athlete from the same area in the same event. Clayton will run in the 100 meters in the Bahamas along with Jodine Williams. The meet will also be used to help Jamaica achieve World Championship qualifying standards in the women's 4x100 meter, the women's 4x400 meters, and the men's 4x100 meters. The top 3 finishers in the women's 400 meters at the national championships, Nikisha Price, Dejanae Oakley, and Stacey Ann Williams, are included in a 6-member squad, along with Leah Anderson, Shaquina Foote, and Ronisha McGregor. The men's 4x100 meters relay team for the Bahamas will include Kadrian Gosen, Raheem Ford, Rohan Watson, Christopher Taylor, Adrian Carr, and Bawaje Nkrumah. That team will also attempt to achieve the qualifying standards they failed so to do at the weekend in Barbados. Maurice Wilson is team technical leader, Gillette Parks manager, and coaches Paul Francis, Gregory Little, and Marlon Gale. 3 national champions in Megan Tapper, Jordan Scott, and Nikisha Price are listed to compete in Monaco, the 10th stop on the Wonder Diamond League circuit on Friday. Tapper will run in the 100 meters hurdles. Strong competition is expected from the American trio of Alia Armstrong, the Olympic champion world leader Masai Russell, and Grace Stark, along with the world indoor champion record holder Devine Charlton out of the Bahamas. Price will face the starter in the women's 400 meters, where she'll face the likes of the Olympic champion and world's number 1 Marilady Paulino of the Dominican Republic and Poland's Natalia Bukshawicka. Scott, the Diamond League leader, will line up in the men's triple jump, where he'll go up against Andy Diaz of Italy, Fabrice Django of Burkina Faso, and Germany's Max Hebb. Anjanette Knight is entered in the women's 400 meters hurdles, while Romaine Beckford and Raymond Richards are in the men's high jump. Jamaica registered their first victory in this season's West Indies Rising Stars men's under-19 cricket championship. They beat Guyana by 5 runs at Connery Sports Club on Wednesday. The Jamaicans were bowled out for 260 inside 47 overs. Captain Brian Barnes 68, Pajay Nelson 40, and Vital Laws 42 led the batting. Parmeshwar Ram and Gulcharan Chulai took 2 wickets apiece bowling for the Guyanese. In reply, they were dismissed for 255 in 50 overs. Romeo Diona Ryan made 55, Ramaprasad Ramnath 39, Sachin Balgobin 32, and Captain Jonathan Lange, he made 32 as well. Kevondre Virgo starred with the ball for Jamaica. He bagged 4 wickets, and Barnes picked up 2. The Jamaicans, who lost their first 2 games to the United States and the Windward Islands, will be back in action on Saturday when they take on Barbados. In the meantime, the women's under-19 tournament continues on Thursday, with Jamaica, fresh from their opening game victory over Guyana yesterday, meeting the Leeward Islands at Couva. European champions Paris Saint-Germain are through to the final of the FIFA Club World Championships following an emphatic 4-0 win over Spanish giants Real Madrid in their semi-final at the MetLife Stadium in New Jersey on Wednesday. Spanish international Fabian Ruiz scored twice, with Ousmane Dembele and substitute Goncalo Garcia adding further strikes for the Parisians.
Well-positioned Raul Asensio, but he's dilly-dallied here, and did Courtois foul? Doesn't matter anyway, because Fabian Ruiz gives Paris Saint-Germain the early lead. Rudiger, another mistake. Dembele, fleet-footed, takes his big chance, and Paris Saint-Germain, the Champions League winners, are looking on top of the world here in New Jersey today. 2 goals inside the opening 9 minutes. It's just so smooth from Paris Saint-Germain. How they carve their way through Madrid. Fabian Ruiz in for his second. What about this for a scoreline now?
PSG really, utterly dominant, without question, the best club team in the world at the minute, yeah? And you know what? They take on the English League campaigners, that's a Premier League campaigners, Chelsea, in Sunday's big final, also at the MetLife Stadium. And as you would have heard in our previous sportscast, the US President Donald Trump will be in attendance at that final. And this is where the World Cup final will also be played next year as well, yeah? All right, that's sports. We're going to be back with more at 6:05.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade.
Cubby's Baby Wipes is ideal for your baby's delicate skin, infused with vitamin E and aloe vera, and available for home or on the go. The time by Cubby's Baby Wipes is
5:30.
From Kingston to the world, from Montego Bay to new adventures, and from Ocherias to endless possibilities. Wherever you're headed, we will proudly take you there. Jamaica's airport, your global gateway. The temperature brought to you by the Airports Authority of Jamaica is
31 degrees Celsius here in the nation's capital, Kingston. It's 29 in the western city, Montego Bay.
Looking for superior quality transportation from an international award-winning provider? Well, look no further. Choose Island Car Rentals, Jamaica's leading car rental company, setting the standard for ground transportation in Jamaica. For over 50 years, Island Car Rentals has been your trusted partner for reliable, top-quality vehicles. But we're more than just a car rental company. Need an airport transfer at any hour? Heading out of town and want to travel in style with a private chauffeur? Need a truck to rent for business or personal use? Or maybe you need a customized shuttle or tour for a large or a small group. Whatever your transportation need, Island Car Rentals has you covered. Call us today at 876-926-8012 or 876-929-5875 or visit www.islandcarrentals.com to book your next trip. Because Island people take better care of you.
Enough power tool, big to small. Chaka my figure dig the wall.
Our Total Tools.
Beat walk a figure trim the lawn. We have everything a job demand.
Total Tools.
We rent them, sell them and fix them. Also give Total Tools a call. When I say home improvement, landscape construction, a Total Tools are your option. Home improvement, landscape construction, Total Tools are your option.
Total Tools located at 102 Main Street, Ocherias, 34 Slipe Road, Kingston.
And lot C6 Jackson, Sentence Bay. Call us today.
We have, as a people, been fed a steady diet of information, oftentimes untrue, that nothing na go on. This is probably the first government that almost every single day of the week could have a groundbreaking, a handing over, a contract signing, a commissioning, because enough things are going on in Jamaica under the Andrew Holness-led government. Enough things. So when they come to you with the negativity about nothing na go on, you may not see what is happening. So when you see groundbreaking, we have been working 2 years, 3 years before bringing it through a process, and we have all kinds of projects, not in a pipeline. Our projects are on a track, so we have a train line of projects to come.
This message is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Residents of Portmore, you spoke and we listened. JPS is returning to the Sunshine City. Starting July 2025, you'll be able to visit the My JPS Care Hub inside Fontana Portmore. Get answers to queries related to billing, payment, prepaid electricity, service requests, and more. Our agents will be on the ground to ensure you are in and out in no time. Look out for the My JPS Care Hub in Fontana Portmore, coming this July. JPS, powering what matters.
50 years of dreams. 50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Our Jamaican family, hallelujah! At 40 East Street, Old Harbour, this Sunday, July 13, 6 p.m. for the annual JLP Area Council 2 Gospel Concert and Candidate Presentation, hosted by Area Council 2 Chairman MP Clifford Everell Warmington. Hear from Party Chairman Bobby Montague, Deputy Leader James Robertson, and others. Main address comes from Prime Minister and Party Leader Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness. Testimony, gospel bells how they ring. The mission to prosper Jamaica continues, therefore, my beloved brothers and sisters. Be steadfast, immovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, knowing that in the Lord your labor is not in vain. Tambourine, JLP Gospel Concert this Sunday, 6 p.m. Old Harbor, and you are invited. We choose Jamaica!
Taboo topics, bulletins after dark,
riveting discussions,
celebrity news and interviews,
topics that are shunned by society,
and everything else in between.
Boyatings After Dark with Kareem Boyatings each and every Wednesday, 8 to 11 p.m.
Boyatings After Dark.
No topic is too taboo or hard to discuss.
Come get your mind blown and your curiosity explored. Boyatings After Dark.
Tune in to Cliff Hughes Online Thursday, July 17 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. as we broadcast live from the Special Entrepreneurship Grants Presentation Ceremony at 61 Hagley Park Road. Through the Local Economic Development Support Program, over $10 million will be awarded to 250 grassroots entrepreneurs in sectors such as health and wellness, food and agro-processing, art, craft, fashion, and more. Join us as we celebrate Jamaica's entrepreneurial spirit during Cliff Hughes Online Thursday, July 17 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's the Special Entrepreneurship Grants Presentation Ceremony. Catch the live stream on our YouTube channel at Nationwide 90FM Live 2. All this and more only on Nationwide 90FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by the Social Development Commission.
Cover Story is brought to you by Hyundai. Modern, premium, affordable vehicles.
Experience the joy of buying a brand new Hyundai without breaking the bank. Yes, buying a brand new car should never leave you broke. From stylish designs and safety features to comfortable driving and reliability, Hyundai is the choice. Hyundai vehicles come standard with 2 years free service and 5 years warranty and roadside assistance for your peace of mind. Drive 2 years without service cost and 5 years without fear of being stranded. Hyundai. Conditions apply.
Good afternoon, listeners and viewers. It's 5:36. It's the 9th of July, 2025. Welcome to The Cover Story. I'm Siobhan Campbell.
And my name is Sanjay Lewis. Good afternoon to you, Siobhan, and good afternoon to all our listeners. Not a happy day for our cover story this afternoon, because in what the police are describing as a bizarre case, a caregiver is facing several charges after she concealed the dead body of an elderly woman for nearly 2 years. The caregiver is identified as 54-year-old Gina Robinson. It's reported that the elderly woman, Viola Destin, died on December 10, or she died on December 10, 2023. However, her body was not found until Sunday at her home in Old Harbor District, that's in Little London in Westmoreland.
Images seen by Nationwide News show Ms. Destin's mummified remains clad in a house dress, lying on its back on a mattress. Ms. Destin's age and date of birth are yet to be confirmed. The police say instead of reporting the death, Robinson, who was Ms. Destin's live-in caregiver, simply left the body inside the bedroom of the house. A relative of Ms. Destin summoned the police on Sunday after becoming suspicious.
And the scene was processed and the body removed to the morgue. The caregiver is facing charges of failure to report the death of a person, preventing the lawful burial of a corpse, and attempting to prevent or to pervert the course of justice. Aging expert Professor Denise Eldemar-Scherer says the incident highlights the importance of the report by the Select Committee of the Senate on Aging. She's also urging Jamaicans who employ caregivers to pay greater attention to their elderly relatives.
Well, to discuss this further, we're being joined by proprietor of Lynn's Funeral Home, Calvin Lynn, the founder and executive chair of the Caribbean Community of Retired Persons, CCRP, Jean Laurie Chin, and the social worker, Dr. Peter Ann Baker. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, my friend. Good morning, Sanjay. Good evening, Peter and Mr. Lynn.
Mr. Lynn, are you there, sir?
Yes, I said good afternoon.
Okay, I can hear you now.
It's not so strong.
I'm doing a lot of chatting. That is why I'm a bit hoarse.
Good evening to you. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Lynn. Let's speak with you, Dr. Peter Ann Baker, first, because when I first heard this story, it was rather bizarre. 2 years in a building undiscovered until someone finally raised an alarm. What do you make of that?
I don't think it's impossible, and I suspect it. Given the circumstances brought this one to public attention, but I certainly know that it's not the first time. And this is a situation of older people who live alone and who really become, the older you get, the more invisible you become in the society. Because my question is, okay, I know everybody's going to be after the caregiver and so on, but my question is, a dead body smells. Okay?
Yes.
Mr. Lin will explain how long it would take a dead body to dehydrate and so on. Nobody in that district walked past Miss Destin's house in the 19 months and say, "Oh, Miss Destin, how you do?" And then don't get no answer. And then do it a second day and they don't get the answer on the third day and they don't get no answer and them don't stop and knock on the door, or them don't go to pastor and say, "Boy, pastor, I don't see anything, and the caregiver supposed to be there, but I don't see her." So that's my that's the thing that comes to my mind. Maybe because I've also dealt concerning
the elder.
One sec, Mr. Lynn. We're going to bring you in next. Just allow Dr. Baker to finish your point.
Okay. And I'm saying, because perhaps I have had to deal very closely with situations like these. Yeah. So I am, a little reluctant to just be pointing the finger at the closest.
Yeah. Let me hear you, Mr. Lynn. You're saying that it's a careless community. Why?
Yes, because, for instance, we would have the experience here as one of the contractors for the government that would work along with the police to remove sudden death cases, tragic cases, etc. No, for somebody to have died ex-state. At times, just like last month, we did a removal. It was estimated to be 4 days since the person was seen alive, and that was advanced decomposition case. So I'm saying, in this particular case that is of creating so much interest, I wonder, for no obnoxious scent to be around, if the person were able to get any form of formaldehyde, something that can preserve the body for some time, and say, soak it, whatever method they would use, pour it on the body, that would harden the outside tissues, but the inside not embalmed. Because in the embalming process, we use the arteries that we inject the fluid through, okay, among other ways that I won't explain on the radio. But for someone to say, hide a dead body for so long, okay, like I say, I don't think it is so possible. Because unless, like I said, the body was treated with some form of chemical to prevent decomposition.
Yeah, so in a sense, then you're saying someone must have smelled, or there must have been a stench coming from the house.
Yeah, because at times when we are called and the body is in an advanced state of decomposition, and I ask the question, nobody around to inquire, as I said before by the previous speaker, it's really careless. I can't find words to describe it.
Would how far the body be from, let's say, the road? And also, if it's locked in a particular room, would that help to conceal the stench that would come from the house?
They don't have the way, even if they are in Russia, to communicate to inquire about the welfare and the whereabouts of their aged relatives. Something's wrong. So just cover up the remains with a tarpaulin or so as it is. That will only cause faster decomposition. It would not preserve the body.
So what you're saying, in order for someone to have done such a good job of keeping this body out of sight and out of mind from the community itself, they'd either have to be quite the professional in the mortuary sciences or just plain carelessness on the part of the community.
No, the carelessness is for the relatives of the deceased who would employ the caregiver, for them not to inquire about the whereabouts of that aged person. The other aspect would be, from my knowledge, the body could not have been in that condition for so long, not being decomposed, unless it is treated by some chemical that can prevent decomposition.
Understood. Please stay with us. Please stay with us, gentlemen and ladies. We are up on a break, and I would love to bring in Ms. Laurie Chin shortly after.
Clear your barrels and personal shipments with ease and convenience. Request a customs contactless clearance today through CCP at jca.gov.jm. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is...
It's 5:45.
Burn Shack fried chicken always ready. Burn Shack, original crispy. Burn Shack, Cajun spicy. Burn Shack, a barbecue. Burn Shack, we are going Burn Shack.
The temperature brought to you by Bird Shack Fried Chicken in Kingston, Montego Bay, and Ocho Rios is...
It's 31 degrees Celsius here in the capital city, Kingston. It's 29 out west in Montego Bay and 29 in Ocho Rios.
Is your money idling when it could be thriving? With CIBC Caribbean's fixed deposit offering, you can take charge of your cash. With 50,000 Jamaican to start, choose terms from 30 days to 2 years. Lock in your funds and enjoy premium rates guaranteed to grow your wealth. Whether you're eyeing short or long-term gains, our fixed deposit account puts you firmly in control of your money. Now is the time to open a CIBC fixed deposit account and start earning more today. CIBC, ambitions made real.
Nago Head St. Catherine, Greenleaf Medical and Diagnostics has opened its door at 55 Newland Road to assist you with all your medical needs. Visit and get the services of a general practitioner, pediatrician, gynecologist, and surgeon. They also do all tests: ultrasound, pap smear, ECG, and diagnostic testing. Open Mondays to Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Telephone 876-740-1224. Greenleaf Medical and Diagnostics, your medical partner in Nago Head.
50 years of dreams. 50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers. We're discussing the tragic situation of the mummified remains of an elderly woman found in Little London. The police estimate that she would have died sometime in December of 2023 and found just days ago. It's believed or alleged that the caregiver had hidden that the lady had passed on back in December. And we have with us to discuss the matter social worker Dr. Peter Ann Baker, proprietor of Lynn's Funeral Home, Calvin Lynn, and founder and executive chair of the Caribbean Community of Retired Persons, Jean Laurie Chin. And it is to you I go now, Ms. Laurie Chin. I mean, it's interesting that this case cropped up now, just, I believe, a week or 2 weeks after the Select Committee on the Elderly Care and Protection Act finished its work. And you heard similar cases like this, not something as quite as bizarre as this, but similar cases of people being neglected by caregivers, and no one is able to bring those people to account because of neglect on the part of relatives, the community, who simply forget that the elderly in their presence needs their assistance. What do you make of the situation in light of the Elderly Care Protection Act that we're trying to formulate?
Well, it's just a matter of days, because the Senate report was just given on Friday, and the act really cannot come too soon, because in their recommendations, for example, they're saying there should be established standards for caregivers, that there should be mandatory training and certification, and that there should be mandatory home visits for the elderly. So here it is, this poor woman on her own. She dies, we don't know how, and nobody knows for 2 years. Why? Because there's no system in place to ensure that there's a regular way to visit. And do you know, just a month ago, after there was a tragic fire, we decided to reach out to first responders for a meeting, which is actually being held next week, Thursday. We're going to be meeting with members of ODPEM and the fire service and the police and the National Council to see how we can, and again, this is in the report from the Senate Committee, setting up a parish-level registry of these elders who either live alone or live with a caregiver. Because, and again, as Professor Edemacher said, don't paint all caregivers with the same brush, because there are wonderful, sympathetic, caring persons who are doing this. But we have to protect our elderly from those who are awful, terrible. And again, the family members will have to pay more attention. Even the technology is there, even to say, let me have a WhatsApp video with my grandma or my auntie, just to check on her to see that she's well looked after. I mean, something as simple as that could have been done, and this tragedy could have been not made worse, So I think what we need to do now is, we can't wait for the law. This is why we're having the meeting next week, to just see how we can have a system where there are visits to these homes, check on their wiring, check on the caregivers, and we do have parish volunteers who are willing to assist with that, because it cannot wait.
And Ms. Lauritsen, I have to ask you, because I don't want to go too far with this, but to what extent should the relatives of the deceased be considered culpable in a situation where it took them nearly 2 years to finally become suspicious about this person not being visible to the community and not being visible to them, and only the caregiver essentially probably giving them information as to the status of the elderly lady?
I cannot judge, because some people can be very deceptive. Maybe they were calling her. Maybe she was giving them stories, that, the lady was okay. So I really wouldn't know how to judge.
And Dr. Baker, do you think the proposed Elderly Care and Protection Act will adequately address the challenges faced by Jamaica's aging population and help to prevent tragedies like what we saw happen in Westmoreland?
But a big question, because first of all, it is not even yet a bill, not even a draft. Okay, it is a report presented by the Senate, an excellent report. Its comprehension, is astonishing. Many steps, because it has to go, I understand that he has this working on cabinet submission.
You're breaking up, Dr. Baker, and I think what you're saying is very, very important.
Yes. You hear me better now?
Go ahead. It's a little better.
Okay. I'm saying there are
No.
Unfortunately, Ms.
No,
Baker, we're going to
try to reconnect.
Yes, we're going to try to reconnect with you and see if we, because what you're saying is clearly of importance.
I
We don't want to
heard
miss
a
it.
part of what she said, and she was explaining that the process that this excellent report has to go through, it will probably take months, maybe a year, hopefully not more than a year. And this is why I'm saying, in the meantime, the National Council, which is a very hard-working organization, will have to probably take on more responsibilities in the interim, and non-government organizations like CCRP and the churches. I think we are going to have to get together and say, listen, a law is there coming up, but we cannot wait. We will have to do something about the safety and security of our elderly.
Dr. Baker, I understand you're back.
I hope you can hear me now.
Yes, loud and clear.
Yes. Wonderful. So I think Mrs. Lorichin spoke to that there are many steps along the way. So it will probably be at least 2 years. At least 2 years. And so on. And I want to make the point. 2 points. One is, Siobhan, you asked about shouldn't the family be held responsible. And I'm happy to hear Mrs. Lorichin say, she's not in a position to judge. Because many of us, it's very easy for us to reach after the family. Where are the family? I would strongly suspect that the family is overseas. We don't even know how constitute that family. We don't know what their relationship to this person was, how regularly in contact with them. They may be cousins or grand nieces and so on, and they say, okay, she's on her own there in Jamaica, make we at least try, make sure that somebody's at the house with her and we will pay the bills. So that is, I know that many of us are in these kinds of situations, and I think the people who are in these situations, who are able to speak up, need to speak out about what is happening. When we say family, the entire village has migrated. It's not to Mandan or to Kingston, to New York, or we've gone, Manitoba, and all of places. And has happened to the relationships that used to be able to exist because of physical proximity. So that, there are many more persons and many more forces implicated in an event like this. And there are increasing numbers of persons who are living on their own. Yes, they may have a caregiver. If they have an excellent caregiver, even with the greatest of excellence, if you are doing 24/7, then you are going to become exhausted physically and emotionally. And we do not know whether Miss Desi is a person to get along with or not an easy person to get along with. So it is time we start as a society to begin to re-examine our assumptions about aging and the nature of life in the later years. We don't know. I don't recall seeing how old this lady was. I was at least late 70s, if not late 80s, because we don't stand the call for age is an entire generation long. And so, which people have different levels of competence. So, my concern is about people who have that house. And I know, and you see, it is because I know Jamaicans will say, I know for them business. Yes. Or she never used to talk to them when she did down on her veranda. So I'm in no business with her. You understand? Those are the things we have
the
to
churches
challenge.
will have to act.
We have to challenge how we regard old persons in their old age, which is a long time. 30, most of us are 60 can expect to live if we are in reasonable health, even if we have a chronic condition. If we are women, we can expect to go to 80. If we are men, we can expect to go to 77, 78. And many times they are the only ones. The older folks are the ones who are here in Jamaica. And even when you have a relative who is working in a hotel in Port Antonio, yes, they're able to do it to make a call. So we have to start looking at the way we have organized ourselves in our society. We talk about churches. There are multiple churches in Little London. I know the area. Yes. There are multiple churches. And even if she wasn't currently an active member, I would love somebody to go and inquire how many of those churches have ongoing regular home visit programs for persons who are not their members. Yes. Because I know churches that even their own members, they are not visiting regularly.
I think that is very well put, Dr. Baker. She is a social worker. We also have with us founder and executive chair for the Caribbean Community of Retired Persons, Jean Laurie Chin, and the proprietor of Lynn's Funeral Home, Calvin Lynn. Thank you all for joining us this evening. It's definitely a topic that we're going to have to keep on, and we will keep on it because it is of importance, this matter of aging with grace and how we as a Jamaican society deal with the elders among us. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
The headlines are next.
Cover Story was brought to you by Hyundai. Modern, premium, affordable vehicles.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is
6 o'clock.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. Aging expert Professor Denise Eldemire Shearer says she's been left horrified by the discovery of the mummified remains of an elderly woman who died nearly 2 years ago.
Total horror and disgust. Horror that something like this could happen. Wondering how it took a year for family and friends to wonder where the old lady was. And disgust that a caregiver would do that to somebody. It makes you wonder who was paying the caregiver in the meantime. Was money coming from overseas?
The body of Viola Destin was discovered on July 6 at her home in Old Hope District in Westmoreland. She had been dead since December 2023. Ms. Destin's caregiver, 54-year-old Jenna Robinson, was arrested and is facing several charges following the discovery. Professor Eldemire Shearer says the incident highlights the importance of the report by the Select Committee of the Senate on Aging.
It's significant that it comes now when we've just finished discussing for the Care and Protection report that was tabled last week, the whole issue of caregivers, management of caregivers, regulation of caregivers, and it just highlights the importance of last week's report.
Professor Denise Eldemire Shearer, medical doctor and aging expert. Taxi operators are supporting the government's plan for a rural school bus program despite concerns about the impact on their potential to earn. The operators are the latest group to weigh in on the ongoing national debate. President of the Eastern St. Thomas Taxi Association, Kirk Brown, says PPV operators recognize the benefits of the program.
The new school bus program with the school bus that the government has rolled out, it is good for the students and the student parents because, yes, they will save more money because the fear that really will be a help for the parents. That's why you find the transport, we are kind of quiet. You don't hear much about it. We are kind of quiet because we know that it is a good thing for the children.
But Mr. Brown says while he welcomes the initiative, he's concerned it might be bad for business.
On the other side, we in the public transport sector, it is bad for us because we lose those passengers. Over all the years, we are the one been moving all these students, select of big people, and we still move to them Pitney, to them Grand Pitney. You see, so come September, it's a different game change. So yes, it will affect us because the bread done thin already now, so it does get thinner.
Kirk Brown, president of the Eastern St. Thomas Taxi Association, and president of the St. James Taxi Association, Dion Chance, is also welcoming the program. He's encouraging students to take the buses come September. But president of the St. Anne Central Taxi Association, Joyce Murphy, does not share that view.
Our taximen in St. Albans carry a lot of children. I'm totally against it. St. Albans is a small town, and those buses are not ready yet to run in St. Anne's Day. And in doing so, they are blighting the two taximen that we have carrying our children to school. We have no problem with the taximen them down here. Not with it, no time at all.
Joyce Murphy, president of the St. Anne Central Taxi Association, and Member of Parliament for Southwest St. Elizabeth, Floyd Green, says he's looking ahead to September when the government will roll out Phase 2 of its rural school bus program.
As a rural MP, we have long lobbied for a rural school bus system to come into operation. To be honest, one of the biggest challenges that our children face in relation to the access of education in rural Jamaica is transportation. So I'm truly surprised and astonished that the rural school bus system that's been introduced by the government is being so heavily politicized to the level that the actual buses are being criticized.
The opposition dismissed the buses to be used under the program as decommissioned units from the U.S. school system that are unsuited to the Jamaican terrain. But Minister Green disagrees.
We saw firsthand how good the buses were. I mean, if you know the terrain to get up to Monroe and places like Chelsea Hill and Horseshoe Corner and from Santa Cruz to Malvern and from Kincaid to Monroe, those buses showed that they were fit for purpose and were extremely hardy machines. I mean, they took a number of hits and the students came out with no injuries. So I'm shocked, and it is clear that the opposition is just adamant to tear down any project, regardless of the fact that it will help our people, and are just in a baseless drive for power.
Floyd Green, MP for Southwest St. Elizabeth. Commanding Officer for the Area 4 Police, ACP Michael Phipps, is calling on political candidates to maintain peace and respect during the election campaign season. His call follows several reports of political campaign posters being defaced or removed by opposing factions.
The police across the Area 4 space is at this time appealing to all the political representatives, whether a sitting member of parliament or a prospective candidate. We are appealing to them to conduct all their political activities in an atmosphere that engenders peace and goodwill. We have been getting complaints from some representatives regarding removal of and the destruction of posters, etc. We propose to do very early intervention in order to prevent potential conflicts within the constituencies across Area 4.
ACP Phipps says he's directed his divisional commanders to be on the alert for persons who remove political signs. A meeting has also been held with both the JLP and the PNP representatives in central Kingston.
We have had good responses and so far have had one meeting with Member of Parliament Mr. Donovan Williams of the JLP and Mr. Steve McGregor of the PNP, both reps for Central Kingston constituency. This meeting, I believe, was very cordial and I think went very well, where both gentlemen pledged to ensure that both camps will conduct their political activities in an atmosphere of peace and goodwill, and at the same time implore their supporters to do everything to maintain a peaceful election campaign.
ACP Michael Phipps, commanding officer for the Area 4 Police. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. Sports is next.
Looking for superior quality transportation from an international award-winning provider? Well, look no further. Choose Island Car Rentals, Jamaica's leading car rental company, setting the standard for ground transportation in Jamaica. For over 50 years, Island Car Rentals has been your trusted partner for reliable, top-quality vehicles. But we're more than just a car rental company. Need an airport transfer at any hour? Heading out of town and want to travel in style with a private chauffeur? Need a truck to rent for business or personal use? Or maybe you need a customized shuttle or tour for a large or a small group. Whatever your transportation need, Island Car Rentals has you covered. Call us today at 876-926-8012 or 876-929-5875 or visit www.islandcarrentals.com to book your next trip. Because Island people take better care of you.
Are you ready to pursue undergraduate studies but you are unsure of what to study and where? Choose the internationally accredited University of the Commonwealth Caribbean UCC. We offer on-campus and online undergraduate programs in marketing, business administration, information technology, HR management, finance management, and more. Apply now at ucc.edu.jm or call 906-3000 or visit any of our campuses island-wide. UCC, fostering leadership and innovation.
Plug into the sun with Peak Energy Solutions. We are your affordable provider for everything solar. Grid tie or off-grid solar P systems, solar air conditioners, panels, lithium batteries, solar supplies, and installation. Visit us at Shop 1, 3 Mosquito Valley Road, Red Hills, St. Andrew. Call 876-279-8820 or 944-0668 or email us at peakenergysolutionsja@gmail.com. Peak Energy for everything solar.
Start the school year healthy and ready. Bring the kids to the nationwide 90FM Back to School Fair for vision and dental checks, blood pressure and blood sugar tests, and even immunization support. It's peace of mind for parents and a confident start for students. Join Team Revolution on Saturday, July 26th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Harmony Beach Park, Montego Bay. Don't miss the nationwide 90FM Back to School Fair.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to sports here on Nationwide 90FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Paris Olympic 100 meters finalist Tia Clayton will aim to take advantage of one of a few options still available to her to compete in the women's 100 meters at the World Championships in Tokyo, Japan in September. Clayton, who finished outside the top 3 at the national championships after pulling up midway the final with an injury, has been named in Jamaica's team to the NACAC Area Championships in the Bahamas August 15 to 17. According to World Athletics Qualification and Entry Standard, athletes who win their area championships could secure a spot in individual events in the Tokyo World Championship, providing there is no better entry by world rankings of another athlete from the same area in the same event. Clayton will run in the 100 meters in the Bahamas along with Jodine Williams. The meet will also be used to help Jamaica achieve the World Championship qualifying standard in the women's 4x400 meters relay. The top 3 finishers in the women's 400 meters at the National Championship, Nikisha Price, Dejanay Oakley, and Stacey Ann Williams, are included in a 6-member squad along with Leah Anderson, Shaquina Foote, and Ronisha McGregor. A men's 4x100 meters relay team has also been named for NACAC. Kadrian Golson, Raheem Ford, Rohan Watson, Christopher Taylor, Adrian Carr, and Bawaji Nkrumah. The team will also attempt to achieve the qualifying standard, having failed so to do in Barbados this past weekend. Maurice Wilson is team technical leader, Gillette Parks, team manager, and coaches Paul Francis, Gregory Little, and Marlon Gale. 3 national champions, Megan Tapper, Jordan Scott, and Nikisha Price, are listed to compete in Monaco, the 10th stop on the Wonder Diamond League circuit on Friday. Tapper will run in the 100 meters hurdles. Strong competition is expected from the American trio, Alia Armstrong, the Olympic champ and world leader Masai Russell, and Grace Stark, along with the world indoor champ and record holder Devine Charlton of the Bahamas. Price will feature and face a starter in the women's 400 meters, where she'll face the likes of the Olympic champion and world's number 1 Marilide Paulino of the Dominican Republic and Poland's Natalia Bokowica. Scott, the Diamond League leader, will line up in the men's triple jump, where he'll go up against Andy Diaz of Italy, Fabrice Zango of Burkina Faso, and Germany's Max Heb. Anjanette Knight is entered in the women's 400 meters hurdles, while Romaine Beckford and Raymond Richards are in the men's high jump. Jamaica registered their first victory in this season's West Indies Rising Stars Men's Under-19 Cricket Championship. They beat Guyana by 5 runs at Conakry today. Jamaicans were bowled out for 260 in 47 overs. Captain Brian Barnes, 68, Pajay Nelson, 40, and Vital Laws, 42, led the batting for Jamaica. Panara Aram and Gulcharan Chulai took 2 wickets apiece. In reply, Guyana were dismissed for 255. That's in 50 overs. Romeo Dionarine made 55. Ramo Persard Ramnath, 39. Rashin Balgobin, 32, as well as Jonathan Lange. Kevon Virgo starred with the ball for Jamaica. He bagged 4 wickets. Barnes picked up 2. The Jamaicans, who lost their first 2 games to the United States and the Windward Islands, will be back in action on Saturday. They take on Barbados. In the meantime, the women's Under-19 tournament continues on Thursday, with Jamaica, fresh from their opening game victory over Guyana, meeting the Leeward Islands at Couva. Former West Indies batting star Chris Gayle has criticized the South African standing Test captain Wiaan Mulder's decision not to chase down Brian Lara's world Test record of 400 runs. Mulder had the opportunity to break Lara's world record in the second Test against Zimbabwe in Bulawayo. On the second day, when lunch happened, Mulder returned to the pavilion unbeaten on a score of 367, but during the break, he declared the innings. Lara is the only batsman in the history of Test cricket to score 400 runs. He achieved this score against England in Antigua in 2004. Mulder says he did not go after Lara's record because he felt that this record should remain with Lara. Speaking on Talk Sport, Gayle described the South African as generous.
What a generous kid, eh? I have 2 triple centuries. And if I could get a chance to get 400, I would go on to get 400 runs. That doesn't happen often, and you don't know when you're actually going to get to another triple century again. So anytime you get a chance like that, you try and make the best out of it. But he was so generous and said he wanted the record to stay with Brian Lara. I mean, maybe he panicked. He didn't know what to do in that situation because, come on, you're on 367. Automatically, you got to go. You have to take a chance at the record. If you want to be a legend, how are you going to become a legend? Yeah. Records come with being a legend as well. I think it was a little error on his side not to try to go and get it. We don't know if he would have gone and get it or not, but he declared on 367 and he said what he had to say. But listen, that's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get 400 runs in a Test match. Come on, youngster.
Gayle dismissed suggestions that Zimbabwe wasn't a worthy opponent for Mulder to eclipse Lara's record against.
The opponents doesn't matter. It's the same cricket, Test cricket, same cricket, Test cricket. Sometimes you can't even get 1 run against a team like a Zimbabwe, if you want to put it that way sometimes. So it doesn't matter the opponents. If you get 100 against any team, that's a Test century. You get a double, triple, 400, that's a Test. That's Test cricket. That's the ultimate game. That's the ultimate game. So, like I said, he panicked and he blundered straight up.
That's Chris Gayle. European champions Paris Saint-Germain are through to the final of the FIFA Club World Championships. This following an emphatic 4-0 win over Spanish giants Real Madrid in their semi-final at the MetLife Stadium in New Jersey today. Spanish international Fabian Ruiz scored twice with Ousmane Dembele and substitute Goncalo Garcia, adding further strikes for the Parisians.
Well positioned Raul Asensio, but he's dilly-dallied here and did Courtois foul. Doesn't matter anyway, because Fabian Ruiz gives Paris Saint-Germain the early lead. Rudiger, another mistake. Dembele, fleet-footed, takes his big chance, and Paris Saint-Germain, the Champions League winners, are looking on top of the world here in New Jersey today. 2 goals inside the opening 9 minutes. It's just so smooth from Paris Saint-Germain. How they carve their way through Madrid. Fabian Ruiz in for his second. What about this for a scoreline now?
PSG will face the English Premier League campaigners Chelsea in Sunday's final, also at the MetLife Stadium. Finally, in sports at this time, Rudolph Speed, technical director of defending champions in the Premier League Cavalier, describes former captain Richard King as a consummate professional. The 23-year-old centre-back conducted his first training session with his Scottish-based club St Mirren earlier this week after guiding Cavalier to back-to-back titles in the local Premier League.
Consummate professional, always turning for training, no excuses actually when, for not putting out the work, did a lot of work, off the field by himself, in the gym. And, keeping his style of play, calm, cool, collected, believe that the game must be played, with some type of artistry and not necessarily the brute force usually associated with defenders.
King previously had a short stint with Iceland-based club IBV, where he featured in 17 games while netting goals on 2 occasions. According to Speed, King's composure on the ball made him a standout amongst his peers in the Premier League and suggested that Saint Mirren has a similar playing style to Cavalier.
Well, he's a passing centre half, so if you like, to build out from the back, you have your man. If you want him to pick a pass over 40, 50 yards, that's him again. Very intelligent player, always scheming to attack. I just think based on the style of this team, it was just a perfect fit. This team that he goes in, the player like us, and he'll relish playing there.
Cavalier is known for its high turnover of players, and with the departure of King, Coach Speed believes that while a void is left in the defensive area, he's already identifying a few players who can step up to the plate.
We have a couple, so it's going to be a fight for this position. So that, again, is good news.
Rudolph Speed, the sporting director at Cavalier Football Club. That's sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:20.
Our Jamaican family, hallelujah! At 40 East Street, Old Harbour, this Sunday, July 13, 6 p.m. for the annual JLP Area Council 2 Gospel Concert and Candidate Presentation, hosted by Area Council 2 Chairman MP Clifford Everell Warmington. Hear from Party Chairman Bobby Montague, Deputy Leader James Robertson and others. Main address comes from Prime Minister and Party Leader Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness. Testimony, gospel bells how they ring. The mission to prosper Jamaica continues, therefore, my beloved brothers and sisters. Be steadfast, immovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, knowing that in the Lord your labor is not in vain. Tambourine, JLP Gospel Concert, this Sunday, 6 p.m., Old Harbour, and you are invited. We choose Jamaica!
As we enter the peak of hurricane season, don't let downtime disrupt your business. Digicel Business offers secure cloud storage and Jamaica's only Tier 3 certified data center, built to withstand storms and safeguard your data. With 24/7 monitoring, local hosting, and 100% uptime, your operations stay protected no matter the weather. Prepare now, protect what matters. Call Digicel Business Solutions at 876-469-2677 or visit digicelbusiness.com. Digicel Business Solutions. Stay online, stay protected.
50 years of dreams. 50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
You have to win, then just bet. Bet on the game, no stress, no sweat. And win big in the Wanna Bet Just Bet promotion. Spend $1,500 or more on one Just Bet ticket and complete the entry form at promotions.supremegames.com for your chance to win. Third place gets Beats by Dre. Second place gets an iPhone 15 and AirPods Pro. And first place gets a 65-inch TV and a soundbar. Promotion runs May 16 to July 20, 2025. Grand draw July 25, 2025. Authorized under Section 58 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
I use the Radar app to help source my seeds and also my seedlings.
Me run my farm as a business, so I use the app for weather forecast and crop planning.
When we need an extension officer, we just book a visit on the app. Quick time to reach. We check pest alert every morning. Me not make her mash up my ground.
Real farmers, real support, real easy. Crop Radar and Farm Smarter. Get the mobile app on Android and iOS.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited.
industrial automation, and control solutions.
Good evening, and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Robianne Williams. A special good evening to our friends over on our YouTube platform. Thank you so much for tuning in. We invite you to weigh in live in the comments section on today's Public Opinion. We're continuing with the conversation. The police are probing the death of an elderly woman whose body was found in a mummified state nearly 2 years after she died. The woman, Viola Destin, died in December 2023. However, Miss Destin's body was found on Sunday, July 6 at her home in Old Hope District in Little London, Westmoreland. Miss Destin's caregiver was arrested and she's facing several charges following the discovery. Reports are that Miss Destin died on Tuesday, December 10, 2023. But instead of reporting the death, her live-in caregiver concealed the body inside a room at the house. A relative of Miss Destin summoned the police on Sunday after becoming suspicious. Images seen by Nationwide News show Miss Destin's mummified remains clad in a house dress lying on its back on a mattress. So in Public Opinion this evening, in Public Opinion, we're asking your reaction to the discovery of the mummified remains of a woman who died nearly 2 years ago. I'll start with the comments on our Instagram platform. Hyatt Herman is saying, it is sad. Didn't she have relatives? More questions than answers. I'm confused, as we all are. iBossy is saying, insane. Yeah, it is insane. Gemini, none of her relatives came to check on her. Someone must have been paying the caregiver. Chris Duncan is saying, usually you hear these things in Cuckoo Land, but is Jamaica becoming a replica of Cuckoo Land? I don't know, man. Like when I first heard about this case, these are things you hear of or see or watch in a movie. Yeah, you watch these things in a movie. Never would one have thought that something of this nature would play out in real life. On our Facebook platform, Philip Jackson is saying, people believe in so much things these days that we don't even know the truth behind these events. We're so superstitious, but tell them blow breath back into a dead body and bring them back to life with all these hanky-panky. Edney Powell, if she had a caregiver, someone must have been paying her and checking on her to see the condition she is in. You can't leave everything up to a caregiver. Some way they leave their relatives in hospitals and don't check or go back for them. Or you're saying some people, they would leave their relatives in hospitals and don't go back to check. Audley Phillip is saying this is a most bizarre event and sounds more like an episode in a horror movie than a real life event. And I said it. These are things you watch in a movie. Audley Phillip is saying, but it's indicative of the world we live in today, uncaring, that she could have kept a dead body for 2 years, reportedly, allegedly, and it didn't raise an alarm. Shows how insensitive and apathetic we are as a people. Yeah? Let me see. A church, he went on to say, a church, a neighbor, family and friends. The whole issue is weird, outlandish and horrific. Horrific indeed. Becca Grant is saying she's a certified mad woman. Audrey Allen, as sad as this situation is, much attention must be paid to caregivers' health. She is in her 50s and who knows, she might just be experiencing premenopausal or menopausal symptoms which gave her a mental breakdown. What is as equally sad to me being Audrey Allen, the deceased was not missed by neighbors, relatives, nobody visited her. Yeah, that is insane. Georgina Bridson is saying, I think the caregiver is actually sick. How come no family member never check in on the lady's situation? God help this generation. Michelle Bernard giving us her 2 cents on the matter. Mentally ill. Mentally ill woman who should be taken to be assessed and treated. On the other hand, the relatives seem to didn't care. Where were they all along? She's questioning. They also should be charged. That's according to Michelle Bernard. What's your reaction to the discovery of the mummified remains of a woman who died nearly 2 years ago? On our X platform, Teflon is saying this has the making of a Lifetime movie. I don't know, man. Them Element movies, I don't know if you watch Lifetime Element movies, but yeah. Teflon is saying, on a serious note, though, it has left me with more questions than answers. Yeah? Tia Davis believes it's plain and outright wickedness. That's a very painful way to die. Can you imagine 2 years later? 2 years later. No funeral, no goodbyes, no nothing. 2 years later. No family member or friends checked on her for 1.5 years. 2 years? It's 2 years. The elders are treated unkindly, says Tia Davis, and she's saying it's so sad, not even going to mention the caregiver. No words to describe her actions. Turning my attention now to our YouTubers. Wow. Yeah. A Jamaican caregiver in Fort Lauderdale killed the old lady and sold her $1 million house. What's going on? Wow. CBCB is saying that we are not our brother's keeper. There's no way I could have my family for so long, not knowing her condition, not even a video call. Yeah, in them time, yeah, and like back in the day where phone never have camera, and you can't video call, you can't see what go on, you can't stay from far and see what go on. Not even a video call. CB is questioning. Not even a video call. Sandra Murray is saying this goes to show that the relatives did not pay attention to her. They left the caregiver totally responsible for her. They just didn't care. My God, that's wicked. Christopher Bowen is saying, my mom died 97 plus and she was checked on every day. She was visited the Sunday by her pastor and was given holy communication. Marigold is questioning if she died suddenly or did she suffer. A lot of questions to be answered. I suspect once there are charges laid against someone, probably we said that the caregiver is facing several charges, then maybe all of that will be borne out in court. Yeah? Dwight Bonner says, insurance. Trust me. Student for Life is saying, so my question to the neighbors and family members, how on earth did 2 years pass before any alarm was sounded? I'm totally in awe. Whodunit says it's a very sad and sort of an X-File phenomenal. The family members technically abandoned the lady. Yeah? Wow. Oh, Hayward is saying Holy Communion. Okay, yeah. I get that. The family careless, says Andrew. Andrew Last is saying the family is careless. Dion J. Others are involved. Family members should also be charged. And Dion is saying this is sad. I'm not like, I don't know. The family is careless. I'm seeing that. The family careless. Saw that one, Andrew. Saw that one. Yeman Marigold, I corrected it to say she was given Holy Communion at the end. Aishan Khan is saying, some of you in America don't even know your neighbors' names. I know only one. So stop chatting and show off. Yeah? But I mean, if you're living in a community, right, and you don't see such and such person, one would assume that is either you passed or you move out the area, but nobody don't see you, nobody don't hear from you, nobody don't come check, nothing. Alia is questioning, mummified state requires planning, so was it premeditated, and who were the participants? A lot of questions. Those questions we hope will get some answers to these, all these questions. We hope we'll get some answers if the matter reaches the court. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for participating in Public Opinion. Really, really a sad one. We do not have any more time for any more comments. So we're moving on to the business report, which is up next.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is
6:33.
Visit Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore, for all your prescription needs, gifts, personal care, household, and stationery items. The temperature by Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore is
30 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 28 out west in Montego Bay. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Robian Williams. Lasco Financial Services Limited, LASF, says that by mutual agreement, its managing director, Mrs. Jacinth Hall Tracy, has resigned. LASF says its directors have agreed with Mrs. Hall Tracy that she will formally relinquish her function on December 31, 2025. It has also been agreed that Mrs. Hall Tracy will now be jointly responsible for the operation with Mrs. Charlene Williams, who has been appointed the general manager of the company. The company says the duo will work together during the next 6 months to bring about a smooth transition. During this period, the company says it will seek a suitable permanent replacement for Mrs. Hall Tracy. The company says Mrs. Tracy has given invaluable service. U.S. President Donald Trump said he was planning to impose a 50% tax on goods made in Brazil, escalating his fight with the South American country. He announced the plan in his latest tariff letter, which was shared on social media. In it, Trump accuses Brazil of a tax on U.S. tech companies and of conducting a witch hunt against a former far-right president, Jair Bolsonaro, who is facing prosecution over his alleged role in a plot to overturn the 2022 election. Trump sparred with Brazilian President Luiz Lula da Silva about Bolsonaro's trial earlier this week. At the time, President Lula said Brazil would not accept interference from anyone and added, "No one is above the law." And finally, in the currency markets at the close of trading today, it cost 161 Jamaican dollars and 4 cents to buy $1 US, 218 Jamaican dollars and 97 cents to buy $1 British pound, and 117 Jamaican dollars and 58 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. That's the Business Report. I'm Robian Williams. Good evening.
Back to school doesn't have to break the bank. Swap instead of shop. Join Nationwide 90 FM at our Back to School Fair on Saturday, July 26 from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Harmony Beach Park in the western city of Montego Bay. Bring those books your kids no longer need and swap them for ones they do. Plus, enjoy fun activities, entertainment, and meet your favorite Nationwide personalities. It's all happening in St. James on Saturday, July 26 from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Harmony Beach Park. See you there.
As we enter the peak of hurricane season, don't let downtime disrupt your business. Digicel Business offers secure cloud storage and Jamaica's only Tier 3 certified data center, built to withstand storms and safeguard your data. With 24/7 monitoring, local hosting, and 100% uptime, your operations stay protected no matter the weather. Prepare now, protect what matters. Call Digicel Business Solutions at 876-469-2677 or visit digicelbusiness.com. Digicel Business Solutions. Stay online, stay protected.
Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, is a financial reporting firm that delivers accounting and compliance services on time. Call us today at 876-908-0486-7. Email us at clientservices@cocnjamaica.com or visit our website at www.cocnjamaica.com. COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
Stay cool and save energy with the perfect ceiling fan for every room at prices you'll love. At Active Home Center, we've got fans to fit every space and every budget. From affordable options to premium designs with energy-efficient DC motors. Whether it's your bedroom, living room, or patio, there's a fan for every corner of your home. Hurry in for deep discounts on select fans while stocks last. Shop fans at Active Home Center in Kingston and Montego Bay. Active Home Center, more savings, more choices.
Is your money idling when it could be thriving? With CIBC Caribbean's fixed deposit offering, you can take charge of your cash. With 50,000 Jamaican to start, choose terms from 30 days to 2 years. Lock in your funds and enjoy premium rates guaranteed to grow your wealth. Whether you're eyeing short or long-term gains, our fixed deposit accounts puts you firmly in control of your money. Now is the time to open a CIBC fixed deposit account and start earning more today. CIBC, ambitions made real.
50 years of dreams. 50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Are you looking to drive sales and build brand visibility this summer? Be a vendor at the Nationwide 90FM Back to School Fair on Saturday, July 26th at Harmony Beach Park, Montego Bay. Families from St. James, Hanover, Westmoreland, Trelawney, and St. Elizabeth will be out in full force. And you should be too. Call us at 876-630-1210. Or email sales@nationwidenewsnetwork.com to secure your spot. Let's put your brand where it matters, on the ground.
This is a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
Labor rights, come out in your numbers for the Southeast St. Andrew Workers' Appreciation Ceremony with your standard bearer Kevin Frith this Sunday, July 13 at Curfew Place, 5 p.m. Come hear from champion MPs Delroy Chuck, Favour Williams, Senators Abka Fitzhenley and Delano Seabright, and the next MP for Southeast St. Andrew, Kevin Frith and others. Main address comes from Deputy Leader West Kingston Boss, the Honorable Desmond McKenzie. That's the Southeast St. Andrew Workers' Appreciation Ceremony this Sunday, Curfew Place, 5 p.m. Look how PMP about mind the children, them boss. But we choose Jamaica. The Jamaica Labour Party delivers for you. Always active, always strong.
That was a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
If it's in the public's interest, it's the nation's business during Nationwide at 5. The nation's business.
Hi there. Here's some good news for these trying times. Quote, "By God's word, I can see where I'm going. They throw a beam of light on my dark path." Unquote. Psalm 119, verse 105. Listen for God's word weekdays at 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. through
Oasis. Stop by for a refreshing drink and share a God perspective for the day.
Oasis. Weekdays 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. right here on Nationwide, a revolution in media.
The rebroadcast of the Oasis can be heard weekdays at 5:45 a.m.
I'm Dennis Brooks.
I'm Alan Campbell.
I'm Floyd Green.
And I'm Garth Williams. Catch us on the Jamaican Dads podcast right here on Nationwide 90 FM, Thursdays at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m.
The Jamaican Dads podcast is all about providing men with a healthy, safe, and functional forum to tackle many of the taboo topics that concern our masculinity.
Like everyone else out there, we're dads of varying amounts of experience who come from different backgrounds and often view the world differently.
We're definitely not perfect, but we are all brethren and we're all committed to this piece of rock called Jamaica.
Too often, there are no safe spaces for men to explore the issues which are important to us.
Plus, most of the content out there about parenthood is produced by women, for women. So we think it is important that we be the change we want to see.
Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jamaican Dads with a Z.
And definitely join us here on Nationwide 90 FM every Thursday at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m. for the Jamaican Dads podcast. It's a revolution in media.
It's Monday, get over your blues. Or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. The E-Zone is here for you. With the Stinger Honey Bee
and Karim Boyatings
from 3 to 5 p.m. on Nationwide 90 FM.
We've got your entertainment news.
Then we want to hear your views. What you said?
Jump in the mix.
Or the hot seat.
Don't miss our brain busters.
Or the crazy giveaways.
Let's talk fashion.
Send us your outfit of the day. Ooh, cutesy. Very demure.
Are you looking for love?
Come on one of our blind dates. Send your request to ezoneblindates@gmail.com. That's ezoneblindates@gmail.com.
And stay tuned for your confessions.
These are my confessions.
Share them with us at ezoneconfessions@yahoo.com. I mean, is this planet Earth?
Is it?
I don't know. Let me check. Either way, it's got a buzz.
And a bugger thing.
Ow! Ow!
Welcome back, listeners and viewers. It's 6:45. We're now into the nation's business. I'm Siobhan Campbell.
My name is Sanjay Lewis. Bermuda's Home Affairs Minister Alexa Lightburn is on the island for the recently concluded 49th regular meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government of CARICOM in Montego Bay, St. James. Minister Lightburn joins us this evening to discuss how Bermuda is keeping businesses and residents safe while promoting growth.
She's responsible for ensuring regulatory frameworks, ensuring consumer protections and affordable environment for businesses and residents. CARICOM is also within her remit. We're also being joined by the Member of Parliament for the constituency number 11, Devonshire East, Christopher Famous. Good evening to you both, lady and gentlemen.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening to you. So you've come to attend the 49th annual meeting of CARICOM heads. What have you made of the proceedings so far, especially considering the areas that we are discussing, matters of national security, regional integration? What have you made of the discussions thus far?
It's always a great opportunity to attend CARICOM, having attended in different capacities in the past. And so this year, I'm attending for the first time attended as a first-time Minister of Home Affairs with responsibility for CARICOM. And Bermuda is seeking to learn from its CARICOM brothers and sisters, recognizing that we have shared experiences, shared history, shared future also. And so there is a value and symbolism and also kind of being a part of the discussions that also we can take back and build on and implement in our communities as well. So it's been great.
And Minister Lightburn, what would you identify then as the key takeaways for Bermuda in terms of advancing regional cooperation, which is so important for us here in the Caribbean?
In short, we are stronger when we're together. And so, we are navigating similar things post-COVID in the various regions. And I am happy to be joined by my colleague, MP Famous, who has also no stranger to these CARICOM forums and is known to have great relationships amongst the other member states. But the value and the takeaway is that there's a level of shared collaboration, shared knowledge, shared ability that we have, and we work together as different regions, but having shared and alike and aligned objectives.
And MP Famous, to bring you in on the discussion, this matter of CARICOM and regional integration, it has been a continual struggle, so to speak, for the region. What do you make of it? Where does Bermuda fall into this matter of regional integration?
Well, we fall right in the center of it, because for those who don't know, Bermuda is the furthest north. The nearest island to us, other island to us, is 800 miles away, which is the Bahamas. So geographically, we are not in the Caribbean region, but culturally, we are as Caribbean as anyone else. Minister Lightborn and myself, we have parentage from Caribbean islands, St. Kitts in particular. The Premier of Bermuda, his mother is from Trelawney. And if you go through the government of Bermuda, majority of MPs have either parentage or grandparents from some Caribbean island or the other. So culturally, we are the same as everyone else. You may speak with a different dialect, and we may pronounce some words differently than you, but we are as Caribbean as you are.
And I suppose many of the challenges faced on other Caribbean islands, it's not much different in Bermuda as well. Matters of national security, the matter of the economy, and the matter of just climate change. I'm sure those issues impact you just as much as they impact us here in Jamaica and other Caribbean islands.
No, definitely. I mean, even as an extension of the Ministry of Home Affairs, energy and how the different member states are ushering in new technologies to both balance and stabilize their energy generation and distribution is what we are too developing and advancing in our context as well. So it is a great opportunity to hear and learn about ways in which we learn from either mistakes and successes of our other sisters and brother jurisdictions to go back home and implement them and learn from those things as well.
And the soundings from the 49th head of government meetings, have you got a positive belief that what you're learning from this meeting will suggest that there is a role for greater integration and deeper coming together of the CARICOM region?
Absolutely, and sure. And, MP Famous, feel free to give your feedback. But for me, definitely, I come away feeling a renewed sense of unity, alignment, and clarity of next steps, clarity of objectives.
Yeah, what you would find if you travel to, for lack of a better term, the smaller islands, i.e. St. Kitts, Tortola, Cayman Islands, Montserrat, Anguilla, I could go on. But what you would find in those islands is there are significant portions of their population from other Caribbean islands. So even without CARICOM, regional integration is going on already. It's just on a formalized tip as far as some want freedom of movement, some would want CSME, some. But regional integration is already in place, right? Jamaica may be one of the few places that a large portion of your population is all native, but most other islands is a composite of Caribbean peoples.
Interesting.
Yeah, and many will say, Minister, that the problems of CARICOM, they're great, and CARICOM often more considered a talk shop than a body that delivers tangible results. How would you respond to those who question the effectiveness of CARICOM, and what concrete outcomes from this most recent meeting you could say will show the detractors that it is not so?
Well, I think you see, amongst the in reflection of the various CARICOM meetings that have taken place, a growing momentum, a growing, confirmation of the things that they would have identified in previous sessions, successfully advancing from the AU CARICOM summit that's coming up and the commitment to attend CARIFest that's taking place in Barbados. These are things that would have been discussed and advanced in previous CARICOM meetings that we now are seeing the fruits, and they are evolving and developing. And so, these are just a few of the things that we can see quite tangibly, and some other things that are, take a little bit more time, just as any organization that is seeking to ensure that its policies and the things that it's implementing is sure and sound. CARICOM is no different. So I would say that we have enough evidence to support its success and its growing evolution, both locally and in the various islands, but also on an international stage as well.
And Ms. Lightburn, Home Affairs, that falls on the matters I see here, to keeping businesses and residents safe while promoting growth. And growth has been one of the most elusive things in the Caribbean region. What are some of the challenges faced locally in Bermuda in terms of getting those growth numbers up? And how do you see CARICOM working toward that development, not only for Bermuda, but for a region as a whole?
So cost of living is very much a shared challenge, but it's similarly a shared opportunity. And so a shared opportunity in recognizing that each island has something to offer. And so it's around how do we best synergize to, align resources and facilitate trade opportunities that make sense for both our region. I think we have history of having very specific trade partners, and I think we're seeing the evolution on the world stage of those relationships, and it presents a reaffirmed opportunity for us to kind of work amongst ourselves and see the fruits of kind of the resources that we already have within. And so what does that look like in a way that's sustainable and also makes sense for each of the countries?
And as a member of parliament, Mr. Famous, how do you see that regional development helping your constituents in terms of their goals towards growth and economic development?
All right, so we have to look at Jamaica as an example. What the concerns are for the people in Manchineal or maybe different for the people of the concerns in Manchester, right? So some things are not applicable to all things. For Bermudians, which is the remit of Minister Lightburn, the greatest concern is cost of living, i.e. groceries, i.e. housing, i.e. health insurance. Those three are the top three
Electricity.
costs. Electricity as well. So in having connections with CARICOM, I'm also the chairman of the Bermuda Housing Corporation. And we are presently, without calling a name, we are presently exploring a facility in Barbados that could reduce our cost of living. So that's one. As we all know, the Caribbean region imports the majority of the food from abroad.
Yes.
We currently don't have adequate shipping or air freight facilities to have interregional movement of food. That's something that CARICOM is looking towards, not only because it could lower the cost of food, but that you're getting food that's not got GMO. You're getting our people away from the foods that are causing NDCs, non-communicable diseases, NCDs. And so this is where CARICOM as a greater organ comes into play. And there of course, every organization is going to have challenges. The United Nations has challenges. The EU has challenges. Look, Britain left them, right? You understand? So any global organization you're dealing with different countries with, I won't say different cultures.
Different priorities.
Different priorities. What may be a priority for Jamaica may be a different priority for Cayman Islands. But we're getting them where we fit in, if you understand. So we as Caribbean people, we're the greatest people on earth. We've survived genocide. We've survived slavery. We're the greatest contributors to culture in the world.
Yeah. And MP Famous, you're onto something, and I'm going to come back to you, Minister, because the movement of not only freight, but people, the intra-regional travel is a big issue, and we hear Mia Motley speak so passionately about it. It's cheaper for Jamaicans to fly to Miami than to fly down to Barbados. Why is it taking us so long to push this matter of regional travel so that people can move among the different CARICOM states? What else can we possibly do?
You want to take that, Minister?
That's one for you, Minister, yes.
For me, apologies. No, I think that this is something that is being actively worked on by the member states. And, I'm confident that, through, the knowledge, the decisions, and things will move at a pace that makes sense for both the region and also is it's applicable, right? We recognize that there are different things and different needs that are more or less of a priority at different times in the various countries. And so, the discussions were promising. And I think that, in time, the CARICOM Secretariat, through her appropriate mechanisms, will give those announcements as appropriate.
But and as a follow-up, Siobhan, and to you, MP, part of the challenge that we have too is that demand. Jamaicans, for example, they tend to want to go up north than to go to the Caribbean region. How then, MP, can we change the mindset of the people? Because you're right, as you said initially, that everyone have different priorities. But engendering that culture where individuals who want to travel to a Barbados, want to travel to a Bermuda as a first option for vacation, rather than the United States or Canada, how can we engender that culture? That's for MP.
Me? Okay,
Yes.
so we have an organ called, all of us, as Caribbean people, have an organ called Caribbean Tourism Association, CTO. The CTO falls under, in Bermuda's context, it falls under the remit of Minister Owen K. Darrell. In Jamaica, the actual chair of the CTO is your current tourism minister.
Edmund Bartlett, yes.
Right? Yeah. So we as Caribbean people, we have to be our greatest champions of interregional travel. It's not up to our airline. If I say to you, man, come to Bermuda, enjoy our cup match. Cup match is like our version of emancipation. Okay. Somebody encourage me. We have this mindset as, for lack of a better term, melanated people, that it's better to go to the lighter countries for vacation. Let's go Europe. Let's go England. Let's go America. But we don't go to Africa. We don't go to the other Caribbean islands, right? And we ourselves have to change that mindset. There's no government that could change the mindset of the people. The people have to uplift themselves, as Bob Marley said, right? We have to see ourselves as worthy of traveling to go see other Caribbean people.
And I'd like to put it to both of you. You first, Ms. Lightburn. Is there still a bit of cultural hesitancy on the part of many of the Caribbean nations in terms of deepening integration? Because you don't see it so much championed at levels outside of maybe a parliament or at a regional meeting. Do you believe there needs to be more done in terms of socializing the various Caribbean citizens towards the notion of a Caribbean identity larger and bigger than the simple nation identity of a Bermudan, a Jamaican, a Barbadian?
I think exposure and education is really the recipe for success. When you have the opportunity to share about, your cultural dishes and your heritage or your emancipation celebration that you may all have in your unique countries, but you're celebrated differently. You can see actually the thread that's kind of very intentionally woven. You can see, our Gumbays is a cultural mass troupe, which you can see very clearly in Bahamian history and also in their Junkanoo, I believe is Junkanoo. Yeah. And similarly, St. Kitts and Bermuda have very strong ties and lots of history as well. And so it's really through exploration, being our own ambassadors of our story and our culture and our heritage, and take the opportunity to both educate and invite others, in engagement to experience and to enjoy. It is a part of our responsibility as our own tourism ambassadors for our countries as well. And so I think there has been, a focus to regional and less regional, but more global and international current events that are trending that may be topical. But there's an opportunity for us to equally be interested and equally be focused on learning what's most important to us, where our heritage and cultural synergies lie.
And you, Mr. Famous, what do you say on that matter of cultural integration beyond just national integration?
All right, so have you heard of the British Virgin Islands?
Yes.
Have you ever been there?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay, see, yeah, prime example of what we need to work on. So I say that to say, geographically, the Caribbean is many different islands, right? So we got Jamaica way over here in the west. You got Cayman Islands slightly more west. Then you got Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, they're on Virgin Islands. If you go to the Virgin Islands, 25% of the population is from St. Vincent. Another 25% are from St. Kitts. And they're on other islands. Only less than 30% of the population are native people. If you go to St. Martin, it's the same. It's this, I guess you'll say, potpourri of Caribbean cultures. And they have their family come to visit them, or they go visit the family in other islands. In the Eastern Caribbean, it's very cosmopolitan when it comes to, there's not no monoculture of one Caribbean, of a Caribbean island where there's only one set of people. But what I would say, and it goes back to our mentality, I would reiterate that we have a mentality that when we say we're going on vacation, we justify it by the only validated vacation is if you go to Europe or as if you go to America, if you go to Canada. Where if I took a vacation and went to Borneo, Curacao, that's something new for me, right? But we don't do that enough. We have to, I reiterate, it cannot come down to one single government or governments telling people or advising people to vacation. We have to do it, and the CTO, I think, is starting to understand the importance of interregional travel, because once you have demand, then you have more flights.
Sure. And in addition to tourism, if I may, I think I remember having only visited a handful of Caribbean islands early, when we began to travel, and I found that at each point that I experienced another country, I had a better sense of who I was. I could see the synergies and the alignment of even me and my history and my culture. And I was like, wow, it's also a journey to understand yourself more. And I think when we understand who and what we are as people, it allows us to be proud of it, advocate for it, and be our own spokespeople as well. So it is an individual journey, but it's also a collective journey as well. And so I think through discussing it, ensuring that we educate those who are coming up as the next generation, and so we are no longer the beneficiaries of not being able to tell our stories. We used to be storytellers, and I think through the uptick of storytelling, we are able to continue the dialogue, continue the shared experiences, and also the synergies amongst us.
Yes,
Minister, this is a very touchy one, but I have to go there. The matter of visa restrictions for some of us within the Caribbean to other countries that form part of CARICOM is a very touchy topic, but don't you think that it's time that if we're promoting this idea of regionalism, that we should also remove the visa restriction to enable individuals to move freely within the CARICOM space?
Well, I definitely think that, all matters are worth exploring, recognizing that everything begins because there was usually a challenge that it had to overcome. Rules are not just created in a benign way, but rather focused to support what is a either domestic or national challenge that may be taking place. And so I think, as we are seeking to evolve to a freer place, these are the types of provisions that will be discussed and explored and solutions found, because that is what we seek to do, and we are coming around discussing what we've identified as a shared priority, how we might be able to facilitate that amongst us. So definitely.
And is that a conversation you're willing to go back to have with your government? Because currently Jamaicans need a visa for Bermuda.
No, just for clarity, they need a visa to get to, because Bermuda, there are no direct flights from Bermuda to any Caribbean island. You have to go via either the US, the UK, or Canada. So you have to have a visa in order to get to those countries, correct?
So
it's a transport infrastructure issue.
So it's more of a transit.
Yes.
Okay.
And then that actually raises the question, Sanjay, how do we address things such as that? I mean, we have Caribbean Airlines. Why is that still a matter that you have to find a joining flight outside of the Caribbean to travel between the islands?
And I think to MP Famous's point, the CTO is seeking to do that as part of its strategy. What are the different avenues and levers that can be explored, so that as an extension of our various tourism products, we're also promoting that interregional transport as well. So it is in train based on the different discussions that I've heard. And so I think these are things that we could look forward to, recognizing that everything doesn't happen immediately. But I think there is interest. And so as an extension of that interest, the discussions will evolve.
And I like when you met, because is it a matter of time? Because when we look at CARICOM and this notion of a CSME, we often go back to the European Union as the model to say that is what we'd like to get to. But I think a lot of people don't realize that the model of the European Union was created over centuries. It wasn't something that just simply magically happened in the 20th century. This was a matter that was discussed as far back when the notion of Christendom was a thing in the European Union, in Europe. So is it just a matter that we don't have the level of time that we need yet before we are more comfortable with the notion of further integration, or is it just a policy issue?
I would say that it's either. I think it is a collection of local challenges as well as local opportunities. And so I think the fact that it is something that is being discussed means it's a priority. And I think that through time, you can refine anything and make anything more evolved, more informed, recognizing that as you continue to understand the matters, understand the different challenges, you can make informed policy decisions that can be eligible to be implemented and implemented well.
Sanjay?
Yeah. So as we move forward and looking just generally, what are your hopes, starting with you, Minister, for CARICOM, coming from this meeting that was held? What do you look forward to going back to your country and extension CARICOM?
So Bermuda at present is an associate member of CARICOM. And so Bermuda has sought to deepen its ties with CARICOM, recognizing that there is a strength in unity, strength in collaboration. We've just kind of riddled some of the things that we could benefit from in terms of trade and understanding, education, collaboration. These are things that we are dealing with domestically, and we don't have to deal with them alone. And so I look forward to the continuation of discussions, the continuation of the requisite negotiations as well to confirm us as full members, but also, the evolution of learning both about the different regions and how we can provide support to them as well, because we also have things that we can bring to the table that we've learned, and so we are all not navigating these challenges at the same time. We're navigating them often at different points, and so whatever were the shared learnings and lessons from a challenge that another member state may have evolved and done successfully, we can learn and implement as we begin and navigate them. So I look forward to that, and I definitely look forward to strengthening our relationship between Bermuda and CARICOM.
That is Alexa Lightburn. She's the Minister of Home Affairs for Bermuda. And we have with us as well Member of Parliament for constituency number 11, Devonshire East, Christopher Famous. Thank you both for joining us, and all the best going forward.
Thank you.
Or maybe one of these I can travel to Bermuda.
We look forward
as well.
to hosting you.
Yeah, I need to visit myself.
Yes, both of you.
There's a lot of in Bermuda, there's quite a few Jamaicans, right? When I say few, I mean a few
families,
few thousand, right? The construction industry in Bermuda is, I would say, split between persons of Portuguese descent and persons of Jamaican descent.
That's interesting. It's very heartening to hear things such as that about Jamaicans going to other countries in the Caribbean region and sharing their skills and abilities to help build the region, and vice versa. I really enjoy hearing those stories. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjay.
Thank you. All the best.
So, listeners, next is The Watchman, and after that, then we take your calls. The numbers are 630-937-124 and 618-8255.
Years of dreams, 50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
The Watchman, exploring issues shaping our society, government, and business. Provocative, unconventional, Dr. Henley Morgan is The Watchman.
Good evening. The Art of Political Speech Making, Part 2. To find politicians whose words not only raise the morals of their nations, but also reverberate across the world, one has to look outside Jamaica. I am not talking merely about eloquence, but about timeless expressions that change how a people see themselves and understand their place in the world. Words that are transformative in their power. In the Caribbean, Mia Mottley, Prime Minister of Barbados, is gaining currency as a straight talker whose words have impact and are remembered long after she has left the podium. Speeches by Ibrahim Traoré, President of Burkina Faso, a country in West Africa, go viral as soon as they are uttered. Also from West Africa, recently elected President of the Republic of Botswana, Doma Boko, belongs to that ilk of politicians rising on a reputation of authenticity, nonconformity, courage, and resoluteness in what they say and do. Listen to the words of President Doma Boko as he addresses his country's top government officials. I quote in part, "This country has some of the most educated people in government, trained at great expense by the people out there, creatures of flesh and blood, catching hell at the margins of this economy. You owe them a debt. What are you doing for these people? When you sit in your office, do you think about them? Every day, every minute of the day, what do you do to improve their lot?" That's the question that should engage all of us. Educated people like yourselves, a population of 2.4 million people in a country endowed with so much wealth. If the economy is not performing, it means the intelligentsia of the country has failed and has failed miserably. We all must admit to this collective failure. This country shouldn't be where it is. This country shouldn't be in debt. It is unjustifiable. I cannot for the life in me understand why we are where we are. I refuse to embrace this unpleasant reality. And so, if we accept that we have failed this country, all of us, because we thought the revenue from the diamonds and whatever else would keep coming, if you have been there for a long time, you must hold yourself guilty. It's a mea culpa because it means you are complicit in the failure. The question is, are we suited for the demands of the positions we occupy? That is why the people are saying you should be fired. They are saying we shouldn't be here. Quote from address by recently elected President of the Republic of Botswana, Doma Boko, to high-ranking politicians and government officials. Listeners, can you conceive of the leader of either of our two political parties or government speaking in such frank, bold, self-indicting tones? Think on these things.
Produced by Agency for Inner City Renewal, AIR, and recorded in the Jamming Studio Trenchtown, a breath of fresh air bringing change to the inner city.
Taboo topics, Boyatings After Dark,
Riveting discussions,
celebrity news and interviews,
topics that are shunned by society,
and everything else in between. Boyatings After Dark with Kareem Boyatings, each and every Wednesday, 8 to 11 p.m. Boyatings After Dark. No topic is too taboo or hard to discuss. Come get your mind blown and your curiosity explored. Boyatings After Dark.
As we grow older, there are many challenges that we have to confront, but these years can represent the best in our lives. Coming of Age during Nationwide This Morning on Thursdays explores issues persons 50 and over confront. It also provides expert opinions on how we can improve the quality of our lives as we get older. That's Coming of Age, this and every Thursday during Nationwide This Morning at 6:51 a.m.
This is a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
Labor rights, come out in your numbers for the Southeast St. Andrew Workers' Appreciation Ceremony with your standard bearer, Kevin Frith, this Sunday, July 13 at Curfew Place, 5 p.m. Come hear from champion MPs Delroy Chuck, Favour Williams, Senators Abka Fitzhenley and Delano Seabright, and the next MP for Southeast St. Andrew, Kevin Frith and others. Main address comes from Deputy Leader West Kingston Boss, the Honorable Desmond McKenzie. That's the Southeast St. Andrew Workers' Appreciation Ceremony this Sunday, Curfew Place, 5 p.m. Look how PMP bad mind the children, them boss. But we choose Jamaica. The Jamaica Labour Party delivers for you. Always active, always strong.
That was a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
Welcome back, listeners. It's 7:18. We're into the final hour and we're taking your calls. The numbers are 630-937-124 and 618-8255. Faithful, good evening. You're on the line.
Good evening, Sanjay. Good evening, Chevron.
Good evening, sir.
Right. The years, whether to sell or not to sell. Chevron, can you tell me how much did we sell JPS for when we sold it to with Marabini?
I don't remember the exact figure, and that's something I'll have to look into. But I'm fairly certain JPS, in terms of its valuation today versus what it was sold for back then, is tremendously higher.
No, one would imagine that it would be higher, yes, sir. But I keep working in my mind almost.
It's US 201 million. I'm seeing here. There's an article from the Gleaner, and that's 80% ownership that the government had sold to Mirant Corporation at the time.
$201 US.
201 million US, yes.
Yeah. Do you not think that was grossly undervalued?
Well, of course, because in 2007, Mirant sold their percentage of the shares for US 732 million.
I mean, I think we can all agree that the sale of JPS was a raw deal at the time, yes, considering the circumstances on the ground.
Mm-hmm. In my mind, that was a big sellout.
I wouldn't say that, though, because if you recall the JPS at that time, it was in a really bad state, and the network was very bad.
It was shambolic.
Maybe could have been higher, but could the government at the time really get a buyer for an entity that was in such a bad financial state, and also the operations on the ground was really poor?
So you're saying that's the best value they could have got?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
We weren't at the negotiating table.
Right, and context is important.
We were essentially behind in terms of our ability to negotiate a proper deal for JPS back then.
And can we, what billion you think? If according to us, if we are negotiating, JPS do not agree to the deal, what are the price? What is the price target you think that they will call upon the government to pay now?
Well, the shareholders, I'm sure, would want the best money that they can get, and I'm pretty sure JPS is not going to let go of that company without a significant return on investments to their shareholders. So even if we bought it, I can assure you it's not going to be at any low cost.
I am thinking several billions of US dollars. And I'm thinking there's why is it at all time we give sell out to foreigner and it that no local bidder didn't have the capital to buy it then and now?
I'm assuming that you hit the nail on the head there, because the business and investment needed for something such as infrastructure projects for a light and power company in terms of generation and distribution is not something that a casual investor would be able to go into.
No, I agree, casual investor. But I am saying there was no. I am not thinking that our Jamaican are just casual. I'm thinking that some Jamaican have money, are capital.
Yes, but remember, this is not a single individual who bought JPS. This is a corporation with its investors. And I'm sure they had to also put together capital to do it as well. So I think at best you'd require a consortium of investors here in Jamaica to put forward a deal to buy JPS.
And based on what I'm seeing, they're saying that the shares probably valued upwards of US $1 billion.
Yeah, I may be more too. So, because I keep thinking of each time we run into problem, we sell. It was in the night when we run into difficulties, and I think we're selling this here in Jamaica for about $1 peso. And we never want to sell to a Jamaican or a local, we sell to foreigner. Why is it that we always sell ourselves to foreigner and then sell even the opportunity there for local to
I don't know if that's a fair assessment, though, Faithful. I think we'd sell it to the highest bidder, whoever gives us the best price for the thing.
No, I don't think that's altogether true. In the 1990s, when you have the crash of in June PJ Patterson time, when the bank them went down there.
Yes, I know what you're referring to, yes.
Right. So are you saying that there was no investor in Jamaica then that could have bought when they sell it to when they sell a penny for the dollar to foreigner? Are you saying that no Jamaican investor could have bought it then?
I can't speak to what arrangements were made behind that matter in terms of adjusting. You're talking about the FinSac matter, yes, I understand. Right, exactly. I can't speak to what took place behind the curtains in terms of deals and investment, but I would assume that the company who put in the remit for the bad debt, so to speak, paid the most that would be willing to be paid for it.
And bear in mind also, Faithful, that when the government decides to sell an entity, they're not blacklisting locals. Locals can also bid to purchase the organization.
I was told that those most companies that went bankruptcy wanted to buy the share. And I was told the government refused to sell, but rather sell to a foreigner.
But on what basis? Because nothing is wrong if the government refused to sell to a local consortium, but there has to be a basis upon which they have done so.
What basis would that be?
So, for example, when the government decided to sell Air Jamaica, there was a local group of pilots and airline hostess who came together to buy the airline, but there was a concern about the sustainability of the funding that they have, which is why they were rejected. So in everything, there are reasons why individuals may be rejected if they put a bid for to buy any asset that we have.
Yeah, but I'm talking about FinSat now. I'm thinking about the price tag that was offered then.
Faithful, that was in the 1990s. I can't. We're so far removed from that in terms of the actual nuances and understandings of that deal. I don't know if we could really be equipped to answer that question today.
But I'm saying it is a continuum thing that we do.
How is it a continuum, Faithful? I mean, I really need to wrap up this call to allow other people to talk. But how is it a continuum? Let me explain that to me. There's a land we sell in Roaring River. We sell to the Chinese where we have the best waterfall. Remember that? And are you suggesting that they just simply sold it to the Chinese without any consideration for anybody else? Because when the Chinese were cutting the road, and so the road was the consideration, Faithful. You realize you just answered your own question, though. But I'm saying we keep selling out our best asset to foreigner. Because what have we been doing with it, Faith? We have not been the best managers of our own assets. As explained by the numerous deals we've had to have with the IMF over the years, we've not been the best managers of our assets. But I hear you, Faithful. We have to take up some other callers here.
And I don't agree with you.
All right.
Oh, boy.
Julius, good evening.
But before Julius come in, we have seen, though, since recently, some of the recent assets that we have sold, priority have been given to locals. Look at Wigton Wind Farm. The priority allotment for micro and small Jamaicans to be able to invest, the Bernard Lodge land. So there are assets that the government has tried to prioritize locals. Yeah. But anyways.
Julius, good evening.
Good evening to you. How are you today?
We're good. How are you?
I'm in the country. I don't know if you hear the background. Nice,
yes.
Cool country. Chilling out. Well, listen, just quickly. This morning I heard on the radio station where somebody was calling out for someone from Flow to come and explain what is really happening, because that's a slackness happening with Flow. Are you aware that Flow took off the 100 thing operator thing that you could call and check some stuff and put a automated thing there, no? You aware of that?
I was not aware of that. I don't believe I have any business with Flow in terms of connectivity.
I don't wrong, I understand. But listen to what they did, you see? They're putting an automated thing. No problem with automated, so I know everybody going whatever now. But why don't you put something where you can say press 2 and get back your operator? Or press 2 and get this.
So that is, so as I said, I don't have access to that. So there's no way for you to get to an operator?
No, not like that.
Are you sure though? Because
hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's something where you have to talk to. So if they say want an operator, you have to say operator. I didn't even listen to that section. But the areas them that they gave us that we must reply to is something that you have to talk. And when you talk, them not understand you. Them keep asking you to repeat them and it's a fine voice. So them probably not understand the Jamaica thing. And them keep talking the biggest stupidness I ever see. It's like a scam.
Here's the challenge.
Apart of phone, see? Because they have some phone, you pay 4,000 for a month or something like that, right? And I wanted to find out some information. And the whole day, every time I say what them told me to say, they say, not getting that, not getting it, and them go on till we just get fed up and enough.
Here's the challenge. What many of these phone companies are doing, and not just Jamaica only, they're trying to limit the number of individuals that get to a live agent. It's not that you can't, but they make it more difficult and force you to listen to the automation, because some of the things that are recorded can actually answer the questions or direct you to the appropriate department. So they've made it harder, because Jamaicans sometimes, some of us, we can't bother to listen. We just want to speak to a live agent.
People them have got problem, people that have the understanding of that. What about the little old people? It's the same thing happened to the bank. NCB took the people out to the bank. They use the machine. When you go machine now work, you want deposit party $1,000. When you look after, you go back with it, everybody say with money in your hand. All of them things, they won't have nobody. Me hear people run up and down and talk about bus. And we need for talk about nobody not talk about that. Them thing you come talk about, them thing you have to quit direct. You see what I say?
No, I understand your complaint, because I note a move with a lot of corporations here in Jamaica to move away from that customer experience to a more automated system. And it does impact customer service to a great degree. I know when I call Digicel's contact customer care number, I have to go through a whole bunch of hoops and whatnot before I can get to an operator, because I know my issue in terms of my concern is not going to be handled by just listening to an automated message. But that is the way the world is going. When you call Scotiabank, you used to get a Jamaican who could understand the lingo and understand what you're talking about with relative ease. Now I am lucky 1 in 30 calls, I'll probably get a Jamaican. I'll get somebody from the Dom rep who barely speaks English, who I have to ask to say, repeat that multiple times. And I agree with you, it is an issue.
They need to come and talk to us about that, man. Honestly to God, they must give us some option who can say go back to this thing, or if we want to use it, because they're not understanding hearing the voice when you do the voice thing. They're not.
Siobhan, it comes back to cost. And while you, Siobhan, may know the particular issue cannot be handled by any of the automated systems. You have individuals who call and they don't want to listen to anything. They just want to go directly to a live agent. The problem that we have now is that the good people who genuinely know that their issues cannot be resolved by an automated agent, they are now getting the bad end of the stick. That's the problem.
And these are the issues the people them must come talk when them have the radio time. Them come and talk about this bus and that bus. How much truck come here with old? With them same one I use. How much car come here with big 40? Most of them car with 10 years.
Don't even start me up about that school bus issue, eh?
Yeah. So don't want to waste your time and talk about that. Other thing now, I only hope the election is called before September 9th. So see if you can talk to Mr. Owens from now, please. Because I want to celebrate and enjoy yourself.
All right. I'll see if I can influence the Prime Minister's decision.
Please. One main thing, ask Cliff Hughes to tell his hosts on the programs, different programs, encourage the people to come out and vote. No matter who you're voting for, come out and vote for this election. It must be the biggest turnout. And ask Mr. Holness and Mr. Golden to pay for some ads, asking the people to come out and vote. It's very important.
Good message to end on there, caller. Thank you so much. TV man, good evening.
Yeah, man. Good evening.
Should be radio, man.
Topic, man. Yeah, man. Two little quick topic. If you don't come and they say, well, check up a little topic, man. He's right, you know. He's right. Having a lot of problem with these places when you call them. Even the other day I called Cat to get something down there apart. And you know, there are some people, Spanish people talk to me, you don't understand them. They're not like Chinese, all these kind of people. Now, when we have these people setting up company in our country, I think we are who control them. They OUR or who monitor them.
It depends on which company are we talking about. The OUR is utilities.
One of these companies in Jamaica that we have to go through call center, go through any these.
I think that would fall more under the CAC, Consumer Affairs Commission.
I think the government need to talk with these people. You cannot let these people set up company. We are living in an English-speaking country. You need to let people who we can talk to. We need people we can talk to get with business done. Because sometimes we need to explain with business to what we are saying to someone who have it first hands-on. You understand? A lot of these places waste your phone card, waste your time, you call, then you're not getting through. And therefore it cut back business because their business could be flowing a lot more.
I understand the frustration, but in their opinion, in their eyes, they're saving costs because they want to integrate all of their customer care services in one location, and they feel that by removing that from a more specialized location, for example, Jamaicans answering Jamaican calls, that it's going to cost them more money. But I feel in the long run, a lot of people appreciate that level of specialty, because I know when I call Scotia and I get a Jamaican, I say thank you, somebody who is going to understand what I am saying, and I don't have to repeat myself 5,000 times, and I don't have to ask them to repeat themselves 5,000 times just to get the conversation moving along. And I understand, and I come away from that experience when I do get a Jamaican feeling as if the issue was actually handled.
Yes, but you see, we never want to cut much of your time, but there's a touch and point and sure. He's right with what he's saying. You want the next point again, quick and fast. You see, we've been getting deported vehicles in Jamaica here for years, you know. Deported vehicles, some of them are two, then coming in, remember? Are two them used to come in, huh?
Yes.
That two half, and you buy a vehicle and go put it together?
And then put it together, yep.
Yes, so I don't know what Mark Golden, I remember these same people used to bring in deported first with those kind of import these people vehicle in Jamaica first. I don't understand these people, what they're talking about.
Their concern is the age of the vehicles being 15 years. I believe the limit, I understand that, but I believe the limit in terms of
5 years.
Is it 5 years? Yeah, something to that effect for a used car vehicle.
10 years back then, you get a 10-year-old vehicle, an 11-year-old vehicle, 13-year-old vehicle, cutting at two, coming to Jamaica. You look, you get one half down Alex, you get one half up a new line motor all them time. You remember?
This is my take though on the matter, caller. The government faces a reality. Brand new buses, they're expensive, yeah? And we have a school system or a transportation system for our students that it needs development, long on
it needs development.
Yeah. So if the youth buses, but based on what the minister indicated, yeah, If the used buses were properly inspected, mechanically refurbished, tailored to Jamaica's terrain, then this could be a reasonable transitional step while we plan for a long-term modernization. It's simple.
Right. Let me tell you something, I learned something under PMP administration. PMP is the type of people who they know how to get a political thing running up and down Pan Road doing. But when they come up and getting things in place, they're full of a lot of promises. You also listen to the promises and that PMP government put to Jamaican people over the years during the election time. Trust me, you wonder when are these promises will ever done fulfill, or when God come, they're not done fulfill. Because honest truth, when I listen to what Mr. Bunting is saying, Mr. Bunting is not a child riding on a bus, man. He's not driving a bus, man. He's in a private school, he's in a public situation. And when you come out and go through all these kind of words from the same Jamaican people you want to vote for you, and tomorrow morning when these buses on the road, there's no PMP or Labour right Pitney, Mark, JLP, you must take the bus and PMP must stay behind,
All right.
Listen, and this man make it look as if that these bus come to Jamaica to kill off with Pitney. And you know what I'm begging the government to do? Please, me I beg you no.
Look.
Mr. Holness of the Gentleman needs to start run more more hard to teach Jamaican people and these people who have a work on the bus within all the radar system and all them places. Get rid of some of them because they're sabotaging the system. They have the blood in them.
I hear you, caller. Thank you. Thank you for the caller, TV man. Thank
you know, Siobhan, one of the things that I will say is that sometimes the PNP, they will bring forward relevant questions, but their delivery cause them to be sidelined.
I understand the point, because I had a discussion, I believe it was yesterday, with Dr. Dayton Campbell from the General Secretary for the People's National Party. And he explained some nuances in terms of why he feels that the school bus program is not going to be enough to solve the regional transportation issues, which I can agree with, because there are some schools in certain areas that the one size fits all approach will probably not work, and we can deal with those in an individual manner. And I agreed with him on that, but what I said to him was that you overshadowed what actual message you could put forward by the almost aggressive need to tear it down from the beginning. Whereas I don't know if Jamaicans will now be willing to give you the time of day to explore your more nuanced view on the topic, because the way you went out and attacked it from the beginning put many off.
Exactly. It's the way that they frame their messaging, and it's a problem that I've had with the People's National Party. Nothing is wrong in questioning if these buses are mechanically sound and safe for the Jamaican terrain and the people that will use the buses. Nothing at all is wrong with that. But the approach by Peter Bunting, the wrong approach you have taken, Mr. Bunting. And because of that, people have closed their ears to listen to anything that you have to say regarding this school bus matter. And the government now, rightly so, they have doubled down to outline the facts, to the Jamaican people, which has now, in essence, throw eggs in your face. That's the problem.
Next caller, Carl. Good evening.
Evening, Trevor. Evening.
Good evening, Carl.
Evening. How you doing there?
Good.
You remember 25, 26 budget speech when the Minister of Finance said the people like I was I think it was $20,000 to help to make up and buy one crowback. You remember how the PMP them went on with it?
Yes.
So what Golding is talking about? Now, it's the crowbacks them now you want to carry school kids.
And here's the thing though, Carl. Because what I think the ultimate goal is of the school bus program is to segregate our children from the troubles and travails that comes with public transportation. And we, as someone who takes public transportation, I know what those troubles and travails are. And I have been in taxis and buses where we reach a certain point and you see the schoolers trying to fan down the vehicle. And I said, no, take your $50 because he doesn't want to waste paying $50 for a seat when somebody can pay $150 to sit in that seat. And it is such a visceral, easily understood issue for so many Jamaicans because we went through it when we were youngsters. We have youngsters going through it now. It is so easy and readily understood by many Jamaicans that we want to move away from that system. That in order to combat it, the People's National Party need to come with a more nuanced and understanding message, which I see where they tried to do that in the clarification that I said would come the next day. And that clarification came, but at the point where it came, nobody wanted to listen.
Yeah.
Sanjay, me just ask one question. You never answer me now.
Hey,
it only laugh.
No, I really have to laugh.
So when me ask question, me why you fi answer. That's one thing you know with me. Them beat it. So we say I crow box them now, Kerry. It's full kids.
The other question that I want to ask is how the program is going to set up because you're paying the taxi men to do it. As Siobhan indicated, when they...
Sanjay, you're a more intelligent person more than that. Not stupid. it was like somebody just get up and just take up a pen and draw one box for one piece of paper. And both Bunting and Colin just decide to run with it. And feel to say it would have stick.
So
the 5 year then they run the place a tour, then have a manifesto to come with to point out a properly plan to the Jamaican people. So seeing the bus and the bus is going to give them a fine ass and then try to put something to see if it would have stick and it flying at them face. Poor Nickel is all about. Down to Nickel, when I comrade, pen up Nickel Monday evening for our program. And poor Nickel was pinning, and I won't comrade friend that. And when the comrade put argument to Nickel couldn't answer. And if you won't comrade about you so, because down to the comrade, she say, it is a good plan. You know, one thing, I should have said this before. In a debate where I come up, I think I heard Monday evening that there will be a debate between the Minister of Finance and the Shadow Minister of Finance. And that left me very disappointed. I can't see how we can go to a debate without have those two persons. Shouldn't be. I think that in a 12 o'clock news, I listen and tell with some things that something like that is the lowest part of the listening public concern. But regard, we should have a debate between Xavier Williams and Julian Robinson. Cannot be. We should have a debate there. Because I will bet every cent that I own for Mrs. Williams that he will spin Julian like a gig. Hello?
Yeah, we're here.
And that's that is the way and the next part which I want to. I don't think knowing Diane Jackson Miller say she is on the orange side. I am on the Labour right side.
No,
Siobhan. But all right. I am on the Labour right side. Everybody know who me is. But there is some talk show hosts and some journalists shouldn't be on that debate that night asking no question to none of those two persons.
I don't share that view, Carl. Even if you want to suggest that there are journalists with alignments politically, you should judge them based on the questions that they put to the debaters, not based on their alignment.
Siobhan, we listening to us person, Siobhan. and doesn't ask a question to none of them opponent unless it suits them. So I wouldn't waste no time listening to that lawyer on that debate. I know where she stands. Let me tell you, Siobhan, let me tell you something. We must be honest now. We must be honest when we're saying things, and we must be honest when we're doing things. I don't have to tell nobody, say, my shirt is green now. So when a person, somebody from a radio station called me other day and asked me to get somebody from my constituency, my division, the Mineralites division, and I spoke to my supervisor Sunday night, and I asked him that we were going to need. And the person turned to me and said to me, say, he wouldn't invite me because anybody will be listening will say they know that I am political. So they will prefer use somebody that
So let me ask you this, Carl.
neutral.
Even if you are political, would that mean you are not able to be fair?
That's what the person seems to be trying. So I said to him, say, no problem. I said to him, say, no problem, because I am a person who doesn't hide around with my shirt green, and I tell him, say, it's a blue shirt I have on. Anywhere I go, I represent the Jamaica Labour Party. Because anywhere my Prime Minister go, if you notice, everywhere my Prime Minister go nowadays, and take you into a full lecturing, and try to tell you right down that you can't understand right down. That day I heard him open some water place. And when the Prime Minister teach all the person them that was infected, the only way this project could come to provision is because of the economy is good. Any dunce can know that now. Any little dunce could have know that now. But the way the Prime Minister teach you when he go out, whether Thursday, Friday, or any day, you have to stop to engage him, to listen to what he is saying.
All right, Carl. But as I said, I believe even if your concerns were founded, I believe the format of the debate would be able to essentially keep any matter of partisan concerns in terms of the questioners out of it in terms of an issue.
All right,
because I believe at the end of the day,
to,
people can be fair even if they are partial.
Oh, Siobhan, I'm going to say one thing to you then. If that person is even going to ask a question, she should not see the paper until it's her time to ask the question.
But as I understand it, it is their questions. I know, so I think they'd have to see
they're the ones who formulate the questions.
They're the ones who formulate the questions.
I don't think that lady should be there.
Which is why the panelists will be asked by more than one person, Carl. It's not just one person asking a question, You're going to have multiple people on the panelists asking the debaters questions.
I don't care who else could be there, but that lady specific should not be on the debate asking any question. Knowing where she coming from and who she be, no. That's my take.
All right, Carl.
It's just like we wanted the Farm Power 106. All
right, Carl. All right, Carl. All right.
Oh, boy.
Who we have next data? William, good evening.
Good evening, Sanjay. Good evening.
Good evening, William. And it's Siobhan.
Siobhan. Yeah, early on, I heard when I was in, we call it now, it's asking people to vote.
Yes.
Encouraging people to vote, yes.
Right, encourage people to vote. Why am I encouraging people to vote?
Because it's your democratic right that your forefathers would have fought so hard for, that you need to exercise that franchise.
I understand all that, so I just ask a question. The reason why I ask a question is pertaining to our politician, only pretty young, but that's the possible for the work for about 3 decades or so now. Our politicians, them let us down. They come to you.
But why do you think that is, William? Why do you think that is?
Repeat?
Why do you think that is?
Listen, because they come to you, ask you to vote for them in your interest and the country interest. But when you vote for them, and them find themselves where they want to find it, them leave you behind. Just like a few call about Flow and this company, Beauty's company, what we are facing. Where the politicians them standing. No, they are the one now supposed to put things in place now to protect the Jamaican people.
Yes.
Huh?
But you see, if people are not voting and people so that the politicians are not going to do anything differently, then the politicians will become complacent. Realize, like a constituency that is very close, how hard the MPs and the prospective MPs try to work to gain the support of the people. Because the competition is close. When you have like a community that you know that they're going to vote a particular political party, they don't care. Because whether or not you come out and vote, they're going to win anyways.
Yeah,
you see why it's important.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We have the responsibility of them. For instance, you have office, you might know it's Sandy, I don't know Mr. Thing, they know it. There's a called a Prices Commission. We used to protect the consumer. They closed it down.
Yeah, but they have now the Consumer Affairs Commission. So it's not that they close it down, it's just that they...
Well, I'm sorry. What the Consumer Affairs Commission is doing, you see? Has nothing to do with what the Prices Commission used to do. I can tell you that. Have nothing to do with it. Because the Price Commission used to have control over 52 basic items. The Consumer Affairs Commission do not have that.
Because we don't practice that kind of economics anymore.
Because it used to protect the Jamaican people, especially poorer class of people. You live to the mercy of God now. And this is what happened to the Utilities company, where used to run by the government and they used to run proper. I can tell you.
But remember also that we...
Well, William, all I can say is that you come from a day when you said that Utilities company used to run proper. I that was not my experience.
Remember though, William, is in what, 92, that the Prices Commission was rebranded as the Consumer Affairs Commission. You must remember that. And it was during that time when the government was making that strategic pivot from price regulation to more consumer protection. Because they wanted competition within the market and government was moving away from price control. Yeah? Our environment, we don't promote that unless you have price gouging where the government will step in. So that's why we had to make that switch.
I know, but the point I'm saying, it don't benefit especially the poorer class of people. That is what I'm saying, you know.
But William, I have to challenge that though. Imagine an event such as COVID-19 happening in a scenario where we have to set prices and no ability to allow them to some extent to float and change in relation to market forces. Where would we be in terms of our ability to manage the economy and mitigate the damage in terms of debt and other things happening to the country? There's a reason why some economies don't practice price controls, and it's because to control those prices requires a level of flexibility in terms of your actual largesse and your budget that we don't have in Jamaica.
And don't forget also that you have the Jamaica Fair Trading Commission, where individuals can report if they believe that they are being unfairly priced with certain things. And then, for example, in the utilities sector now, you have the Office of the Utilities Regulation, which will control pricing.
So a Caribbean nation of 64,000 people or 200,000 people, they can practice price control. But a Caribbean island of nearly 3 million people, it's not realistic.
Yeah.
Not, but I'm telling you now, what I'm based upon is what our as a nation facing. Is the challenge what we are going. There's no protection for us across the board. Not even with the utilities company them. Then do them like with you. There's nobody there to represent you.
You see, I can agree with you, William, that we need better protections in place. And I think the government is coming to that realization based on what has happened in recent. You saw it happen in terms of SSL and the banking requirements that needed to be changed. You saw it in terms of Hurricane Beryl and the Tropical Storm Raphael and the need to make adjustments in terms of our utilities. I think the government is coming to the realization that changes must be made in terms of better protecting consumers, and the government is now in a better position in terms of the ability to negotiate with these companies to ensure that you get better consumer protections.
Well, if God so like to live, would I like to see that, but
Here's the thing, I never expected that I, as a Jamaican, as young as I be in my 30s, would live to see, and Dana, give me a look, would live to see a day where Jamaica's murder reduction is in the 30s to 40%. I never expected that I would live to see that.
And you know that I live that it was wholly lower than that, though.
I'm sure. But as I say, me growing up and hearing the thousands of murders, I never expected to live to see a day where that would be possible. So if that is possible, I'm sure other things are possible.
Let me explain something to you. Many times they write things, you see, in archive and live there. That's you people can see it and read. But we who go through it, we know it. Can't tell us enough of what they put in there. No go so. Me can't tell you that, and me can't tell you that. No go so.
All right, William. We have to wrap up. Thank you to our listeners and viewers on YouTube, particularly for joining us this evening. Thanks to our super producer, Dana Davey, our technical operator, Andrew the Glen Boogs Anderson, and our very capable leader, Cara Powell, who leads one of the best news and production departments in the country. I'm Siobhan Campbell.
And my name is Sanjay Lewis, wishing for you a wonderful evening.
Calling all businesses. Nationwide 90 FM's Back to School Fair is heading to Harmony Beach Park, Montego Bay on Saturday, July 26th, and your brand should be there. With families from St. James, Hanover, Westmoreland, Trelawney, and St. Elizabeth expected to attend, it's the perfect chance to connect directly with back-to-school shoppers.